Chapter 1830. For a moment, Han Nan Gong became nervous. He began to suspect that there was a venerable immortal hidden in the Ouyang Manor. But since there was an expert overseeing the manor, why did he only appear at the critical moment of life and death? Even Han Nan Gong was shocked. The hearts of the elders of the Xianyi sect were even more shocked. Everyone looked at the sky in confusion. Suddenly, there was a loud sound, and several bolts of lightning fell. This is the Void God Lightning Tribulation. Why is the Void God Lightning Tribulation striking at us? Does Ouyang Jun have a treasure to control the Lightning Tribulation? These bolts of lightning are too terrifying. Sect Master Han, what should we do now? The group of elders was in a complete mess. They were certain that the lightning that flew in the void was the thunder tribulation that Ouyang Jun had triggered when he broke through not long ago. Although they could not figure out how this thunder tribulation was triggered, they were very clear that once struck by the lightning, even an early-stage true spirit realm cultivator would be seriously injured. As for those in the Buddha light realm, they would most likely be instantly killed by the lightning. Seeing that Han Nan Gong still didn't make a move, the few elders couldn't wait to turn around and run. But at this moment, Han Nan Gong leaped into the sky and casually sent out a few huge palm prints, intercepting the second wave of lightning. Which venerable immortal is here? Junior Han Nan Gong, please meet me. The crowd was shocked. Han Nan Gong, a Void God Realm expert, actually called himself a junior. But soon, the crowd woke up. After Han Nan Gong's reminder, they all realized that there was an expert overseeing the Ouyang Manor. Otherwise, with Ouyang Jun's strength, how could he launch such a fierce lightning strike? As Han Nan Gong's question fell, the inner court suddenly quieted down. After a moment, a clear laughter sounded, haha. It's good that you know you're a junior. You dare to cause trouble in the Ouyang Manor, quickly kneel and kowtow. Shaoli and Zhang Kuku became excited when they heard the voice. They knew it was Qin Feng's voice. The elders of the Xianyi sect were dumbfounded. Han Nan Gong's expression became cold. That voice sounded like it was only 20 or 30 years old. However, Han Nan Gong didn't explode immediately. He knew that in the North Sand region, there were alchemical pills that could improve one's voice. It could allow an old person's voice to revert back to their youthful state. There were also alchemical pills that could change one's appearance. Not long ago, at the Benji City Square's Genius Meet, someone had concocted the infant countenance pill. Although Han Nan Gong hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he had heard that the alchemical pill could allow one to revert to their youthful state. Senior, please show yourself first. If this junior is truly in the wrong, it's not impossible for me to apologize. Han Nan Gong temporarily lowered his stance. If the Ouyang Manor really had a reclusive immortal venerable keeping watch, then the Xian physician sect would be in big trouble. Even if Han Nan Gong had stepped into the Nihility God realm not long ago, he wouldn't be so arrogant as to go against that group of old monsters. It should be known that the true powerful cultivators of the Northern Sand region were those reclusive immortal venerables, such as Daoist Master Dongxian, Immeasurable Immortal Venerable, and Daoist Master Barefoot. These fellows rarely appeared, and all of them were elusive existences. Rumor had it that they had long entered the virtual god realm, and their only goal was to pursue a higher heavenly Tao. Han Nan Gong had doubts in his heart. These immortal venerables who did not enter the world had never asked about the matters of the mortal world. Why would this old monster in front of him, who guarded the Ouyang Manor, meddle in other people's business? Since you want to see me, then I'll satisfy your curiosity. That clear voice sounded again, and a golden light cut through the void. Unknowingly, a delicate and refined youth stood in front of Zhang Kuku and the others. Who are you? When Han Nan Gong saw Qin Feng, his body that was originally floating in the void fell back to the ground. His face was filled with doubt. He had clearly never seen Qin Feng's unfamiliar face before. I've lived for too long, and even I have forgotten my own name. An ant-like power like the Xian physician sect dares to cause trouble in the Ouyang manor. I think you're all tired of living. Qin Feng's appearance made the Ouyang manor's disciples let out a sigh of relief. They knew that City Lord Ouyang had definitely succeeded in breaking through. Many of the disciples laughed. Qin Feng's words were clearly just to fool Han Nangong. However, Han Nangong did not know. While he was angry, he was also worried and afraid. When the other Ouyang manor disciples stood in front of him, they would show a nervous expression. However, Qin Feng stood less than 20 meters away from him, and his expression was as calm as usual. I wonder what is the relationship between the Celestial Sovereign and Ouyang Jun. Why are you meddling in other people's business? Han Nangong was already somewhat convinced. He could smell that the other party was not simple from Qin Feng's indifferent expression. Although he could see that Qin Feng only had the aura of a Buddha light realm cultivator, he knew that those celestial sovereigns loved to pretend to be weak. If there was an ignorant person who offended them, they would not even know how they died. How dare you? Is it your turn to ask about my business? Who do you think you are? Qin Feng suddenly roared, scaring Han Nangong into taking 2 steps back. Although he was extremely sullen and dissatisfied, he subconsciously began to apologize. Please calm down, Celestial Sovereign. This junior did not mean to offend the Celestial Sovereign. It's just that my Xian physician sect and the Ouyang manor have formed a life and death grudge. If the Celestial Sovereign is just passing by, I hope you can give this junior some face and not interfere in this matter. A Nihility God realm expert was now as subservient as a child, shocking everyone. Qin Feng almost couldn't hold back his laughter. He continued to say with a cold face, City Lord Ouyang and I are friends of life and death. If you dare to find trouble with the Ouyang manor, then you're finding trouble with me. It seems that if I don't make a move, you won't know how powerful I am. Before he finished speaking, Han Nangong jumped in fright. At the same time he was cursing Qin Feng in his heart, he also realized that this time, they were unable to destroy the Ouyang manor. Not to mention destroying the Ouyang manor, even the Xian physician sect might not be able to protect themselves. But before Han Nangong could make a response, a strange cry came from the Xian physician sect's small group of elders. Sect Master Han, I keep feeling that this brat is very familiar. He's the cultivator who won the Genius Assembly held in Binji Market. Elder Han Zi said so, I also recognized him. This brat is definitely Qiao Feng, no doubt about it. When Qin Feng's identity was exposed, the air in the inner court instantly froze. The fawning smile on Han Nangong's face suddenly froze. His body emitted a strong aura of death, and he suddenly slapped out with a palm. He was still standing in place, but a huge palm print had already floated in front of Qin Feng. You reckless junior, I'll kill you. A Nihility God realm expert was taken liberties with by a Buddhist light cultivator. This humiliation was even more unbearable than killing Han Nangong. At this moment, his heart ignited with boundless killing intent. Not only did he want to kill Qin Feng, he also wanted to annihilate everyone in the Ouyang manor. Otherwise, once this news got out, how could he show his face in the northern sand region in the future? Chapter 1831. Rumble. That palm came too abruptly and extremely fast. Only when an earth-shattering explosion resounded in the void did the crowd regain their senses. But they saw Qin Feng standing in the same place without any change in his expression. That huge palm didn't land on him and was dispersed by another powerful aura. Han Nangong, today will be the day you die. An ethereal voice came from the exploding clouds. No one knew when, but Ouyang Jun appeared in the void. His body was surrounded by an aura that seemed to be both light and fog. It seemed to be a clone of him, and this already meant that he had successfully stepped into the Nihility God realm. When he realized that he was tricked by Qin Feng and Ouyang-jun, Han Nangong angrily shouted, "You treacherous guy," pretending to be a reclusive immortal lord to help Ouyang-jun gain time to break through. "Aren't you afraid that the real immortal lords will come to kill you if the news gets out?" Being chased by all the immortal lords in the North Sand region. Just hearing about this kind of thing gave people goosebumps. But Qin Feng didn't care at all and said indifferently, "You don't have to scare me, I'm not that easily scared. Besides, when did I say that I was a reclusive immortal lord? You've always thought so. I'm too lazy to explain it to you. As for deliberately delaying the breakthrough time, you're thinking too much. You're just a cultivator who just stepped into the Nihility God realm. I have many ways to kill you." Qin Feng's words were so arrogant that even the disciples of Ouyang Manor had doubts in their hearts. However, what he said was the truth. Although it was difficult for him to kill a Nihility god with his own cultivation, he had brought back the divine White Spirit bird from White Spirit Mountain this time. If it wasn't for the fear that releasing the divine bird would attract the attention of some cultivators, Qin Feng would have already gone to exterminate the Xian medical sect by himself. Even if he didn't let the White Spirit bird fight, Qin Feng could use the energy stored in the energy tank to bombard the Xian medical sect. Even if he couldn't kill Han Nangong, he could seriously injure him and destroy the entire base of the Xian medical sect. But after some thought, Qin Feng also rejected this plan. It really wasn't worth it to waste the energy in the energy tank for a treacherous sect like the Xian medical sect. Luckily, Ouyang-jun successfully stepped into the Nihility God realm. Now it would be much easier to deal with the Xian medical sect. Humph. What an arrogant fellow. I admit that Ouyang-jun has advanced to the empty god realm, so it would be difficult for me to eradicate the Ouyang residents. However, if you want to kill me, that would be a fantasy. Han Nangong still did not understand the situation, and Qin Feng could not be bothered to waste his breath. He looked at Ouyang-jun, who immediately understood and started to attack. The other cultivators could only watch as the two Void God Realm experts fought. It felt like mortals watching immortals fight. It was a shocking scene. Fortunately, the two of them knew that their cultivation would cause terrifying damage. They flew thousands of meters away to fight, but Qin Feng and the others could still feel the ground beneath their feet shaking violently. The North Sand continent was the place with the least amount of cultivation resources in the entire Divine Mainland. The overall standard of the cultivators was not good. Only one empty god realm expert would appear every 100 years. Those who could step into the empty god realm were rare existences. Therefore, after reaching this realm, the cultivators would cherish their lives very much. In other words, they would start to pursue a higher heavenly Tao and would not easily make a move. This should be a rare empty god realm battle in the North Sand continent in the past 100 years. The battle had only lasted for an incense stick's time, and the entire Jiangchuan region was shocked. Muyan Peak City Lord, there is a huge empty god realm battle outside Zixia City. Does the city lord want to go and take a look? The disciples of Jiangxi First City were shocked. Lin family lord, all the forces in the Jiangchuan region have rushed to Zixia City. Rumor has it that there are two empty god realm experts fighting there. Xianyuan Lin family was in an uproar. Although there are many sects in the Jiangchuan region, there has never been an empty god realm expert. It was not long ago that the Xian medical sect's Han Nangong sect leader stepped into the empty god realm. Where did this empty god realm senior come from? This news can't be fake, right? At the base of the Hall of Famous Generals, everyone was discussing. Some people were doubtful, but many rogue cultivators had already rushed out of Zixia City. Because of the battle between the two empty gods, the Jiangchuan region was in an uproar. Also, because the battle did not spread to other regions, the entire North Sand continent would be in a storm. But when everyone rushed out of Xia City, they found that the battle was already over. This huge battle seemed to have ended not long ago. The battlefield was filled with smoke and ruins. On the empty field, there was only a figure lying at the bottom of the sinkhole. His body was blown to pieces and scattered everywhere. However, there were a few pieces of clothing that danced in the wind and were caught by the cultivators who came. The cultivators' expression changed. This is the Xian medical sect's clothing. Judging from the material, it should be the sect leader of Han Nangong's clothes. This speculation shocked the crowd. Everyone looked towards the sinkhole at the same time. A cultivator who had stepped into the true spirit realm suddenly exclaimed, "Although the battle is over, I can still feel the aura of the dead person in the sinkhole. It's definitely a cultivator of the Xian medical sect. Moreover, the remaining aura is extremely strong, even surpassing my cultivation, surpassing Senior Lin's cultivation. Isn't that an empty god realm expert? Could it be that the Xian medical sect leader Han Nangong died in battle?" His guess was shocking, but it was also reasonable. There were only a few empty god realm cultivators in the northern sand region. Now, one of them had died. Even if the truth was right in front of their eyes, not many people could accept it. The news of Han Nangong's death seemed to have grown wings as it instantly spread throughout the Jiangchuan region. In just a day, this news had spread like wildfire throughout the entire North Sand region. What? Han Nangong is dead. That senior who just stepped into the empty god realm not long ago. Even a godly void god died just like that. It's really not easy for us juniors to survive until now. Who killed Han Nangong? Could it be that Xia City Lord Ouyang Jun also stepped into the empty god realm? What's wrong with the northern sand region recently? Genius cultivators come out in large numbers. Even empty god realm experts can enter the empty god realm. There were trillions of cultivators in the northern sand region. Every day, there were new hot topics. Previously, the topic revolved around Qin Fan's Spirit Blast Pill. Later, it was about the newly promoted 10 Great Chambers of Commerce, China Chamber of Commerce. Then, it was about Qiao Feng, the #1 genius of Binji City. Now, the topic changed to the empty god realm battle outside Xia City, but no one knew that no matter how many times the topic changed, it never left Qin Fan. After another 3 days, when no one from the Xian medical sect came forward to clarify the news of Han Nangong's death, everyone was convinced that the news was true. Moreover, someone spread new news that all the elders of the Xian medical sect had been killed. The remaining disciples had gone into hiding in the sect. Now, the Xian medical sect had closed its doors. It was said that it had sealed itself off from the world for 5 years. This was so familiar that many cultivators thought of the Treasure Pill Tower. Because the Treasure Pill Tower offended Foursquare Tower in Qin Fan, it ended up sealing itself off from the world for 5 years. However, no one mentioned Qin Fan during the battle between the Xian medical sect and Xia City. Even Qiao Feng's name didn't appear. This was Qin Fan's intention. He didn't want to be famous again. It was as if overnight, Xia City had regained its former prosperity. There was an endless stream of cultivators coming and going in the city. It was even livelier than before when it was at its peak. These cultivators came from far away with the same goal, to visit and congratulate Ouyang Jun. He was a void god realm expert, and because of his breakthrough, the fame of the Ouyang Manor had increased greatly, even surpassing many ancient 5-star sections. Ouyang Jun was busy receiving guests every day. He didn't even have time to stabilize his realm. Qin Fan wasn't in a hurry to leave. He planned to stay in the Ouyang Manor for a few days until the heat of the godly realm battle subsided. Now that Qin Fen had become Ouyang Manor's most important guest, the disciples would greet him respectfully wherever he went. Some cultivators who came to visit Ouyang Jun saw Qin Fen and recognized him as Qiao Feng. They would come up to him and say a few polite words to establish a good relationship. After being recognized a few times, Qin Fen simply shut himself in. When he was not cultivating, he studied the true weapon lottery scroll he got from subduing the white spirit divine bird. He also studied the hidden interface lottery scroll he got from the system when he forged a supreme grade true weapon. With a slight thought, the true weapon lottery scroll disappeared. A silver light flashed and a long spear flew out from the system. The long spear was covered in silver light. The spearhead was sharp and there was a silver dragon carved on the spear body. The dragon's eyes were wide open. The carving was vivid and lifelike, as if it could fly away at any time. Dragon Quaking Spear High-Grade True Weapon. With a spear in hand, he could suppress a group of dragons. After reading the introduction of the Dragon Quaking Spear, Qin Fen was delighted. Actually, he had been using the Rainbow Demon Storm Spear for a period of time. It was just that the Scarlet Demon Red Grade spiritual weapon's power was not enough, so Qin Fen gradually switched to the true weapon grade Jin Yi Sword and Dragon Cry Sword. The Dragon Tremor Spear that he had drawn was a grade higher than the Jin Yi Sword. Qin Fen thrust it into the air, and the air in the room instantly exploded. Thousands of cold rays shot out, and it looked as if they could destroy the heavens and the earth. Fortunately, this was Ouyang Jun's closed-door training place. He had already set up a Void God Realm energy barrier. Even Qin Fen's fierce spear did not cause much change in the room. After putting the Dragon Quaking Spear away, Qin Fen used the hidden interface scroll. He couldn't help but look forward to it. Compared to true weapons and secret skills, he felt that the system's hidden interface was more practical and powerful. Ding! Congratulations, host Qin Fen, you have used the hidden interface scroll to unlock the system's spirit insect interface. The system's notification sounded. Qin Fen frowned slightly. He wasn't too happy about this spirit insect interface. Little pig, what the hell is this spirit insect interface? Qin Fen was a bit disappointed. Little pig was so excited that it squealed, "Wow! Master, your luck has been off the charts recently. The spirit insect interface has all the species of spirit insects on the Divine Supreme Continent. Master can buy a few and raise them for fun." Qin Fen rolled his eyes. He couldn't even raise himself now, so where would he find the time to raise insects? In the past, the hidden interface scroll was able to get the heaven-defying interface. Qin Fen became more and more disappointed with this spirit insect interface. However, Little Pig was still in high spirits. Master, don't underestimate the spirit insects on the Divine Supreme Continent. Do you know what the 1,000-year calamity was? It was the insect calamity. Chapter 1832. Qin Fen didn't know about the insect calamity, but he had heard about the beast calamity from the barefoot enlightened being. Qin Fen had always doubted the 1,000-year calamity of the Divine Supreme Continent, but when Little Pig mentioned the insect calamity, he realized that there was indeed a 1,000-year calamity on the Divine Supreme Continent. As for whether he was the one facing this calamity, Qin Fen wasn't sure. What's the insect calamity? Qin Fen's interest was piqued. Little Pig said, Master. Don't think that the Divine Supreme Continent is ruled by humans. In fact, there are hundreds of millions of species living on this vast land, and humans are just one of them. These species have the potential to rule the Divine Supreme Continent. More than 1,000 years ago, the Divine Supreme Continent was almost conquered by the Beast Clan, and more than 2,000 years ago, the Divine Supreme Continent was ruled by the spirit insects. According to the historical records of the Divine Continent's development, the entire continent was once filled with spiritual insects. There were trillions of spiritual insects, and there were tens of millions of them. They were like locusts, attacking cultivators in swarms. Even a true spirit realm cultivator was instantly devoured into nothingness. The empty god realm cultivators could only run away. A group of cultivators with higher cultivation levels joined forces to resist, but they were all killed in the end. Later on, it was recorded that a divine supreme god appeared and stopped the insect calamity. Little Pig's explanation was very detailed. Qin Fen was dumbfounded. He didn't expect the spirit insects to dominate the divine supreme continent for a period of time. Those things, which were as small as a fingernail and could kill thousands of insects with a single slap, could be so ferocious. Qin Fen quickly thought of the hunting turtles, especially the tiny thing's terrifying devouring ability. If the divine supreme continent's spirit insects had the same ability as the hunting turtles, then it would be quite scary. Master, you're thinking too much. First of all, the hunting pincer is a level 9 star beast. It's not within the range of spiritual insects. Second, the hunting pincer doesn't belong to the divine supreme continent. The spiritual insects here can't compare to it, Little Pig said. Qin Fen was relieved. If the divine supreme continent's spirit insects were as terrifying as the hunting turtles, then the continent would be ruled by spirit insects sooner or later. Qin Fen had a new understanding of spiritual insects after learning about them. He looked at the spiritual insect interface again and found that the divine supreme continent had many species of spiritual insects. He could flip through tens of thousands of pages, and each page had hundreds of species of spiritual insects. Every page was gray, and the pictures of the spirit insects were also dim. However, there was a picture of a spirit insect that was lit up on the first page, and it seemed to be a spirit insect that Qin Fen already possessed. Seeking spirit bug rank 1 spirit insects were born with a keen sense of smell and were adept at finding spirit origin bodies. Master, because you have unlocked the spirit insect interface, the system has rewarded you with a low-grade spirit insect. Spirit insects are divided into 9 grades, and the spirit-seeking insect is the most basic spirit insect. It only has the ability to find spirit source bodies. After Qin Feng finished reading the introduction of the spirit-seeking bug, Little Pig explained it to him. Qin Fen couldn't help but think of the Emerald Spirit Ring. That ring had the ability to sense spirit chi. However, because the Emerald Spirit Ring's grade was too low, its ability to sense spirit chi was limited. Ever since he came to the Divine Supreme Continent, Qin Fen hadn't sensed any changes in the Emerald Spirit Ring. Now that he had the spirit-seeking insects, he could replace the function of the Emerald Spirit Ring. Qin Feng checked the interface of the spirit insects again and found that the price of these spirit insects was not low. The higher the rank of the spirit insects, the more expensive they were. Qin Fen didn't buy any more spiritual insects. As soon as he exited the system, he heard a new mission. Ding! Hedonist Sovereign System has issued a new mission, arrive at the Spirit Immortal Kingdom safely. Mission time limit, 1 month. Successfully complete the mission and you will be rewarded with 1 million Hedonist points. If the mission fails, the system will disappear. This mission came too suddenly, and the content was a little strange. The punishment was unprecedented. A bad premonition rose in Qin Fen's heart. He planned to return to the Spirit Immortal Kingdom in a few days, but now it seemed that the return trip this time wouldn't be so simple. After some analysis, Qin Fen had some clues. When he went to the Violet Cloud Valley, he was chased by the Soaring Dragon Chamber of Commerce, the Witchcraft Sect, and other forces. Moreover, those people saw through his and Qiao Feng's identity. However, they failed in the end. Qin Fen coincidentally found the formation at the entrance of the Violet Cloud Valley and used the Violet Cloud Valley's jade plate to enter the secret zone. If that was the case, Long Outyen and the others would definitely not give up. They might have been waiting for him at the entrance. However, Qianfen immediately rejected this speculation because the entrance to the secret zone at the Violet Cloud Valley changed randomly. Qianfen quickly thought of the Void God battle not long ago. That battle had shaken the entire northern sand continent. Others might not be able to see through the deep secrets, but the soaring dragon chamber of commerce and the witchcraft sect might know that he was the one who helped Ouyang-jun break through. After thinking about it, Qianfen was sure that the soaring dragon chamber of commerce, the witchcraft sect, and other forces wanted to kill him. Therefore, the system issued the mission "Arrive at the Spirit Immortal Kingdom safely" in advance. However, when he saw the 1 million hedonist points reward for completing the mission and the system's punishment for failing the mission, Qianfen felt that things were not so simple. No matter how powerful the soaring dragon chamber of commerce and the witchcraft sect were, they would not threaten the system to issue this kind of mission. Could it be that there were other more powerful forces hiding in the dark? Qianfen couldn't think of anything at the moment. However, since the system issued a new mission, Qianfen would definitely take it seriously. He was no longer in the mood to cultivate. These days, he had been secretly investigating the movements of the soaring dragon chamber of commerce and other forces. When he started his investigation, he suddenly realized that his current network and forces covered almost half of the northern sand continent. Moreover, he had only been in the divine continent for 2 years. It was incredible that he could achieve so much today. In just 3 days, many sects and clans in the Jiangchuan region sent him messages via flying swords. After reading their messages, Qianfen's face turned solemn. This was the first time he had encountered a siege since he came to the divine continent. Not only the soaring dragon chamber of commerce and the witchcraft sect, the 5-star formation sect, the 7-star monastery, the northern sand continent's #1 sect, the invincible sect, the #1 demonic sect, the Thunderbolt cult, the #1 city, Rivertown, the northern sand continent's #3 chamber of commerce, the Lian chamber of commerce, the Proud Ocean chamber of commerce, the northern sand continent's 4 major pill workshops, the Spirit Pill Association, the Immortal Grass faction, and many other smaller sects and forces appeared outside Xixia City. However, they did not visit Ouyang Manor like the other forces that came to visit Ouyang-jun. They only stayed on the outskirts of Xixia City. From time to time, some disciples would appear to be gathering information. The strange behavior of these forces immediately caught Qianfen's attention. He realized that these people had joined forces to ambush him. Qianfen was not sure why these forces suddenly formed an alliance, but he guessed that the soaring dragon chamber of commerce and the witchcraft sect had leaked his and Qiao Feng's identities. After he came to the divine continent, he had used these 2 identities to offend countless sections. Now that his identity had been exposed, it was very likely that those sects would gather together to seek revenge. After a brief moment of nervousness, Qianfen calmed down. He listed out the alliance's forces in detail and found that there were more than 30 forces in this alliance. However, the strength of these families and sects varied. There were only 5 or 6 that could truly threaten him. Qianfen then singled out the most threatening sects and families. The soaring dragon chamber of commerce, the witchcraft sect, the invincible sect, the Thunderbolt cult, and the 7 Stars monastery. As for the northern sand continent's Jiang City, which was represented by Jiang Fian, as well as the other forces like the Panacea Association and the Immortal Grass sect, he did not count them as the most threatening forces. Because of this adventure in Xixia Valley, Qianfen had broken through all the way to the 7 changes of Buddha aura. True spirit realm cultivators could no longer pose a threat to him. Currently, he was still afraid of the godly void god. However, because he had tamed the white spirit divine bird, he would not be afraid if he encountered a godly void god cultivator alone. The 5 most threatening sects that he listed were the forces that might have godly void god cultivators. Needless to say, the head of the soaring dragon chamber of commerce, Long Hun, was a godly void god powerhouse. Although Qianfen could not be sure if the witchcraft sect, the Invincible Sect, and the Thunderbolt Cult had godly void god powerhouses, Qin Fan guessed that they most likely did. As for the Seven Stars Monastery, Qin Fan knew that this sect did not have any godly void god powerhouses. The reason why it was listed as one of the 5 most threatening sects was because it was rumored that the Northern Sand Continent's #1 formation master was in the Seven Stars Monastery. Qin Fan knew how powerful a rank 5 spiritual formation master was. After a detailed analysis, Qin Fan temporarily assumed that the 4 forces all had godly void god powerhouses. There were 4 godly void god powerhouses, a rank 5 spiritual formation master from the Seven Stars Monastery, and countless true spirit realm and Buddha's light realm experts from the other forces. Looking at the results, Qin Fan was shocked. He did not expect the forces to be so ferocious. No wonder the Hedonist sovereign system would issue a mission notification in advance and reward him with 1 million Hedonist points. At the same time, Qin Fan also understood the meaning of the system's punishment. If he failed this mission, it meant that he would die in the wilderness. At that time, the Hedonist sovereign system would disappear. As for the true spirit and Buddha's light realm cultivators, Qin Fan did not need to worry about them. However, the 4 godly void god powerhouses before him gave him a headache. He calculated the situation on his side. The White Spirit Divine Bird was a godly void god powerhouse. Coupled with Ouyang Jun, who had just stepped into the godly void god realm, Qin Fan could only kill 1 godly void god if he used all his trump cards. At the very most, they only had the strength of 3 godly void god powerhouses. Qin Fan's mood became even more serious. He realized that this encirclement was difficult to resist, and he knew that he had to face this battle. If he kept hiding in the Ouyang Manor and waited for that group of people to run out of patience, he was afraid that they would directly attack Xixia City. At that time, he would harm the cultivators of Xixia City and Ouyang Manor. While he was worrying, Qin Fan's eyes suddenly lit up. He took out a flying sword, carved a line of words on it, and activated the flying sword. This was not a sword like the Starry Sky flying sword, but a flying sword that was specially used to send messages. Moreover, this flying sword was given to Qin Fan by Daoist Barefoot so that he could use the flying sword to send messages and ask for help when he encountered trouble that he could not solve. Chapter 1833. Speaking of the Barefoot Enlightened Master, he was one of the Northern Sand Continent's reclusive immortal reverends. These old monsters represented the true cultivation power of the Northern Sand Continent. Although they were both at the Nihility God stage, Qin Fan believed that the Barefoot Enlightened Master was equivalent to 10 Ouyang Juns. Ouyang Jun had just stepped into the Empty God realm, but Barefoot Enlightened Being had been in the Empty God realm for hundreds of years. However, Qin Fan also knew that it was difficult for secluded immortal venerables to come out of seclusion, or rather, this situation had never happened in the Northern Sand Continent. Since they were classified as secluded immortal venerables, it meant that they would live in seclusion in the mountains and only focus on cultivation. To his surprise, Qin Fan received a flying sword reply from Barefoot Enlightened Being 3 days later. The letter indicated that he was willing to help Qin Fan, not for any other reason, but because Qin Fan was one of the tribulation takers. Qin Fan felt helpless when the Millennium Tribulation was mentioned again. He had already confirmed that there would be a Millennium Tribulation in the Northern Sand Continent. Now that Barefoot Enlightened Being was willing to help him, he began to believe that he was really one of the tribulation takers. However, Qin Fan was transported from Earth. Although he had stayed in the Divine Continent for more than 2 years, he did not have much affection for this place. He did not want to get involved in the Millennium Tribulation. He just wanted to find his friends and family and leave this place as soon as possible. However, Qin Fan did not know how to repay this kindness. With Barefoot Enlightened Being's help, Qin Fan's heart was relieved. Now, he had 4 empty god venerables on his side, and one of them was even a secluded immortal venerables. However, he had always been a cautious person. Even if everything was ready, he still used his free time to cultivate. If he could step into the 8 changes of Buddha aura, his chances of winning would be higher. However, in the end, Qin Fen did not find the opportunity to break through the 8 changes of Buddha aura. The consecutive breakthroughs not long ago had caused him to reach a temporary bottleneck. Fortunately, these days of hard work were not in vain. He had completely stabilized the 7 changes of Buddha aura. Qin Fen also tried to understand the heavenly thunder tactics, but he could not comprehend the 4th style. He only managed to stabilize the 3rd style of Thousand Lightning Greeting. He also practiced the Dragon Trembling Spear and Jin-yi Sword. The purpose of these was to prepare for the upcoming battle. On the 5th day after receiving Daoist Barefoot's flying sword message, Daoist Barefoot appeared in Xixia City. It wasn't his clone, but his real body. The aura of a void god realm master was indescribable. When he appeared, the entire sky of Xixia City changed. He was surrounded by a mist-like aura, as if an immortal had descended from the sky. Xixia City was in an uproar. Everyone was talking about the barefoot immortal's sudden appearance. This secluded immortal venerable rarely appeared in 100 years. Could it be that he also came to Xixia City to congratulate Ouyang-jun? That didn't make sense. Other than Qin Fen and a few others, no one else knew what the appearance of Daoist barefooted signified. However, the cultivators with slightly higher realms had caught some clues. They felt that the northern sand continent was about to change. The arrival of an immortal venerable was a great event that happened only once in 100 years. However, when the barefoot immortal appeared in Xixia City, the originally bustling city became deserted. Even the disciples of the sects who came from afar to celebrate Ouyang-jun's arrival had left the place. Junior Ouyang-jun greets Senior Barefoot Immortal. All the disciples of Ouyang Mansion came out to welcome the arrival of Barefoot Immortal. Ouyang-jun even welcomed him personally. Although they were both Void God Realm Masters, when he stood in front of Barefoot Immortal, he felt an incomparably strong pressure. Where is Qin Fen? Barefoot Immortal seemed to have no one in his eyes. He came because of Qin Fen. At this time, Qin Fen was in closed-door cultivation, leaving this secluded immortal venerable aside. Qin Fen didn't come out until nightfall. He had made Barefoot Immortal wait for more than 10 hours. During this time, everyone in Ouyang Mansion was terrified. They were afraid that this secluded immortal venerable would destroy the entire Xixia City in a fit of anger. When they saw Qin Fen come out, the disciples of Ouyang Mansion wanted to prostrate themselves in front of him. This was young Master Qin, who had made the Spirit Surge Pill, and young Master Qiao, who had defeated the #1 genius of Northern Sand Continent in Binji Market not long ago. Fortunately, they didn't know that Barefoot Immortal wanted to marry his daughter to Qin Fen. Otherwise, they would have been shocked to death. Junior Qin Fen greets Senior Barefoot Immortal. Sorry to keep you waiting. Qin Fen wasn't deliberately putting on airs. He had been cultivating and breaking through, but in the end, he still couldn't step into the 8 changes of Buddha's aura. But because of this, the moment Barefoot Immortal saw him, he changed his cold demeanor and cried out involuntarily, Your cultivation has reached the 7 changes of Buddha's aura. Everyone was shocked again. They even began to wonder if this Barefoot Immortal was fake. But only Qin Fen understood why Barefoot Immortal was so surprised. Because the last time they met in Binji Market, Qin Fen's cultivation was only at the 3 changes of Buddha's aura. Only 3 months had passed, and he had directly stepped into the 7 changes of Buddha's aura. In order not to scare the others, Qin Fen brought Barefoot Immortal to a separate room. Ouyang-jun also followed. As soon as they entered the room, Qin Fen went straight to the point. Senior Barefoot Immortal, this time I asked you to come to help me return to Spirit Immortal Kingdom. I discovered that there are many sects and forces outside Xixia City, and they want to kill me, Qin Fen did not explain in detail in the flying message. At this moment, he explained the current situation in detail. Ouyang Jun also knew about this. Previously, Qin Fen was afraid that he would be worried, so he did not mention it. When he learned that there might be 4 virtual god realm ultimate gods among the forces, Ouyang Jun was shocked. But when he recovered, he expressed his willingness to help Qin Fen without hesitation. On the other hand, Barefoot Immortal looked indifferent, as if virtual god realm ultimate gods were nothing in his eyes. It's not that there might be 4 virtual gods, but at least 4 virtual gods. Barefoot Immortal said indifferently, when I came here, I felt 4 huge auras outside Xixia City. I was a little puzzled at that time, but now I understand. In that case, those people should have also felt Senior's aura, right? Qin Fen asked. They can't feel my aura. I usually suppress my aura at the Buddha's aura when I come out. Qin Fen and Ouyang Jun rolled their eyes. Rumor had it that Northern Sand Continent's reclusive immortal venerables loved to hide their strength. It seemed that it was true. This kind of pretentious method was really scary. If any ignorant cultivator bullied the Barefoot Immortal as a Buddhist aura realm cultivator, wouldn't that be the misfortune of 8 lifetimes? Barefoot Immortal continued, but they must know that I'm here. The moment I stepped into Xixia City, the news has already spread. Qin Fen realized that he was too smart. Since the cultivators in Xixia City knew that Barefoot Immortal had appeared, the news must have reached the ears of the Soaring Dragon Chamber of Commerce. Qin Fen suddenly had a new idea. As long as he made the name of Barefoot Immortal, he believed that most of the forces that were preparing to kill him would be scared away. With this idea, he immediately asked the disciples of Ouyang Manor to spread the news. The reason why he came out at night was that he planned to leave Xixia City at night. In less than half an hour, the news that Barefoot Immortal had come to escort Qin Fen spread outside Xixia City. At this time, Qin Fen also packed his luggage and prepared to leave with everyone. President Qin, Sea Medicine Sect is here to escort you back to Spirit Immortal Kingdom. Young hero Qin, how did you step into the 7 changes of Buddha aura? Your cultivation speed is so fast that it makes people's hair stand on end. By the way, my father brought the great elder of Xianyuan Lin family to see you off. I can also go to your Spirit Immortal Kingdom to have a look. Alchemy Monarch Qin, how have you been? We haven't seen each other for several months. I miss you so much. Young Master Qin, as soon as he walked out of the gate of Ouyang Manor, Qin Fen was stunned by the scene outside. Outside the house stood many cultivators. They were all important figures from different sects and families. In fact, Qin Fen had informed Spirit Immortal Kingdom and asked Li Tao to bring some people to meet him. However, he didn't expect that there would be so many people escorting him. There were not only people from Spirit Immortal Kingdom, but also sects and forces from various regions of North Sand region. Sea Medicine Sect, Xianyuan Lin Family, Square Tower, Misty Cloud Sect, Broken Flower City, Face City's Fei Clan, North Kuan Sect, and a few rogue cultivators from Hall of Fame. Even the number 1 family of North Sand region, Yuan Clan, had sent a few people. Qin Fen realized that there were 30 to 40 forces on his side. They were not any weaker than the forces that had ambushed him outside Xixia City. Moreover, he had 4 people with the combat strength of an empty god on his side. He could totally fight with the other party. If this battle really started, it would definitely be the most intense battle in North Sand region in the past 100 years. This battle would involve 8 Nihility God Realm experts, more than 100 true Spirit Realm cultivators, and thousands of Buddha Aura Realm cultivators. As for Saint King and Immortal Chi Realm cultivators, they were not qualified to participate in this huge battle because their cultivation bases were too low. Qin Fen thought for a moment, and his blood surged. However, he quickly calmed down. He didn't plan to fight against the forces of Soaring Dragon Chamber of Commerce. It wasn't because he was afraid of them, but because he didn't want to see any casualties on his side. Not only did he not want to fight, Qin didn't even want to quarrel with them. When he spread the news that Daoist Barefoot had come to Violet Cloud City to escort him, he thought of a better plan. However, he would never have thought that this plan would save his, Zhang Ku's, and Xiao Li's lives, and lead to an unprecedented battle. Qin greeted the representatives of the various sects, then looked towards the direction outside Violet Cloud City. His eyes shone like stars, and he said with a loud voice, "Thank you for coming to escort me. Once this is over, please stay in Spirit Immortal Kingdom for a few more days. I'll take good care of everyone. If anyone needs alchemy, feel free to look for me." These forces definitely didn't come for alchemy or anything else. They were either subordinates of Qin or good friends of Qin. However, when Qin mentioned that he could help them concoct alchemy, everyone was extremely excited. This was a level 4 tier 7 pill king, and rumor had it that the number 1 alchemist in North Sand region, Senior Long, was in Spirit Immortal Kingdom. The already high-spirited group became even more lively. Under Qin's lead, they started to set off. They didn't look like they were going to fight, but more like a group going on a holiday. Chapter 1834. Xixia City was a long way from Spirit Immortal Kingdom, so they took the Barefoot Enlightened Being's airship. His airship was a high-grade true artifact. When the airship reached its maximum size, it could accommodate over 1,000 people. After everyone boarded the airship, Qin stood outside with Zhang Ku and Xiao Li. He had no intention of entering the airship. "Senior, please take care of everyone." Qin cupped his fist at the Barefoot Enlightened Being. "Go in peace. Be careful on the way. We'll meet again in Spirit Immortal Kingdom." Qin's new plan was to sneak out. He asked the Barefoot Enlightened Being to leave through the exit of Xixia City while he secretly took Zhang Ku and Xiao Li back to Spirit Immortal Kingdom. Although Qin's forces were not weaker than the enemies outside the city, he had always been cautious. An extra layer of insurance was an extra layer of safety. After everyone said their goodbyes, Qin took out the flying cloud all. When the flying artifact appeared, the Barefoot Enlightened Being's eyes lit up. He tried to check the level of the flying cloud all, but he found that the aura of this artifact did not belong to the Divine Continent. The reason why Qin left alone was because he had the flying cloud all. The flying cloud all was a product of the System Star Saint technology interface. He believed that if he took advantage of the night to leave with the flying cloud all, even a void god would have a hard time finding him. Since Qin didn't explain the level of the flying cloud all, the Barefoot Enlightened Being didn't ask any more questions. The flying cloud all rose into the air and Qin activated its stealth flight mode. In the dark, the flying cloud all seemed to be one with the darkness. "Master, let's leave alone and let the others face the enemies. Will they be okay?" Xiao Li was restless in the cabin. Zhang Ku waved her little fist and said, "That's right, brother Qin. How can we be deserters? Why don't we go back and kill to our heart's content?" Qin was amused by Zhang Ku's reaction. He didn't know when this girl became a violent maniac. It must have started after she drank the ancient gene fluid. "Don't worry. I just don't want to see our friends get hurt or killed in the battle. That's why I left alone. The forces lying in ambush outside Xixia City are coming for me. If they find me running away, they won't fight with the others. Moreover, we have Barefoot Enlightened Being with us. I believe those people won't dare to mess with us." After listening to Qin's analysis, the two women came to a sudden realization, and their tense hearts finally relaxed. The Barefoot Daoist's flying ship had just risen into the sky. He had intentionally waited for Qin to leave before setting off. This was to buy Qin some time. However, just as the airship flew out of Xisha City, it was stopped by another huge airship. Daoist, Barefoot and the others were not surprised by this situation. This was within their expectations. The cabin opened and everyone was ready to go down. However, Barefoot's spiritual master's expression suddenly changed when he walked to the door. He felt 3 extremely powerful auras. They were definitely 3 Void God Realm Ultimate Gods. These 3 auras were completely different from the 4 auras he had sensed when he first arrived. It seemed like there were 7 Void God Realm experts in the other party's force. At this moment, even Daoist Barefoot was nervous. He thought to himself that it was a good thing Qin Fun was cautious enough to play a trick. Otherwise, if he had followed, this battle would have been disastrous. However, it was only a short moment of absent-mindedness. The Barefoot Immortal had already landed on the ground. So what if there were 7 virtual God Realm Ultimate Gods on the other side? No one knew where Qin Fun had flown to. These people's plan had failed. After Barefoot's spiritual master went down, the rest of the cultivators disembarked one after another. They had long known that there were many forces waiting to ambush Qin Fun outside Xisha City, but they were still shocked when they saw these forces. Why are there so many people on the other side? Didn't young hero Qin spread the news that Senior Barefoot Spiritual Master was here to escort us? What are these people thinking? Not only did they not scare away some forces, but their forces seemed to have increased. There are at least 50 to 60 sects and families representatives. Something is not right. Senior Dongxian Spiritual Master? Senior Immeasurable Immortal? Who is the old man standing next to the 2 seniors? Qin Fun's team was in an uproar. Everyone finally realized something was wrong. There were 2 immortal venerables in the enemy's team. At this moment, someone exclaimed, "I know that senior. He is also an immortal venerables. He is Big Dipper Great Deity Bei Qin." The crowd suddenly became silent. Didn't they say that there were only 4 virtual God Realm Ultimate Gods on the other side? Why did 3 people jump out? Moreover, these 3 people were immortal venerables who were at the same level as Senior Barefoot Spiritual Master. Isn't this Junior Brother Barefoot? Why are you here? Before everyone could calm down, Dongxian Su's laughter was heard. His voice was faint and illusory as if it came from thousands of miles away. However, it had a ferocious aura. Just one sentence from him was enough to make the cultivators below True Spirit Realm dizzy. An aura surged from Barefoot's spiritual master's body and seemed to block Dongxian Su's sound wave pressure. Only then did everyone feel a little better. Senior Brother Dongxian, why are you here? Barefoot's spiritual master frowned. Even he did not expect Dongxian Su and the others to come. For a moment, Barefoot's spiritual master's mind was racing. He knew that the Dragonrise Chamber of Commerce and the other forces were here to kill Qin Fun for revenge. However, he did not think that Dongxian Su and the others would have any personal grudges with Qin Fun. Barefoot's spiritual master did not believe that the 3 of them were called for help by other forces. Even the Dragonrise Chamber of Commerce did not have enough prestige to invite an immortal venerable. Suddenly, a bad thought emerged in Barefoot's spiritual master's mind. Could it be that the 3 of them also realized that Qin Fun was the tribulation taker? The moment this thought emerged in his mind, Barefoot enlightened being broke out in a cold sweat. If it was as he had guessed, Qin Fun would be in grave danger. If something happened to Qin Fun, the entire divine continent would be plunged into a calamity. I'm here to escort Qin Fun. Senior brothers, please make way. Barefoot's spiritual master's attitude remained unchanged even though he realized the seriousness of the matter. Dongxian Su's eyes were smiling. What a coincidence. The 3 of us are here to capture Qin Fun. Qin Fun is just a junior. Senior brothers, why do you lower yourself to trouble him? Barefoot spiritual master's face turned cold. Dong Xiansu acted as if he did not see it. What junior brother Barefoot said is interesting. Then why did you lower yourself to escort him? He's just a Buddha or a cultivator, yet he was able to invite you to escort him. I don't need to explain the cause and effect of this. Dong Xiansu's words had a hidden meaning. The others were confused, but Barefoot spiritual master understood it. Dong Xiansu and the other two knew that Qin Feng was the tribulation taker. Chapter 1835. That's not right, senior brother Dongxian, Qin Feng isn't here. Wu Yanghai suddenly exclaimed. Dong Xiansu and Bei Chen's expressions changed drastically. They had already scanned the crowd with their divine senses and indeed, they couldn't find Qin Feng. Yunding, what the hell are you doing? Where did you hide that kid? The smile on Dong Xiansu's face disappeared as a ferocious aura surged from his body. There was an explosion in the air. The aura was like a torrential river, instantly filling up the surrounding air and suffocating the crowd. It was only then that many people knew Barefoot Enlightened Being's name was Yunding. Qin Feng left a long time ago, don't even think about finding him. Barefoot Enlightened Being's expression was cold. Senior Dongxian, let's go catch Qin Feng. Long Outyen was anxious after knowing that Qin Feng had escaped. However, as soon as he finished speaking, Dongxian scolded him, shut up. You have no right to speak here. Yunding is lying. My two junior brothers and I have been guarding this place. How could anyone have escaped? The scolding shocked the crowd. Everyone finally realized the power of an unworldly celestial lord. The Soaring Dragon Merchant Association was the #1 merchant association in the Northern Sand region. They had members all over the continent and were considered one of the top factions in the Northern Sand region. However, such a faction was like an ant in Dongxiansu's eyes. When he scolded Long Outyen in public, the dragon's soul didn't even say a word. Senior brother Dongxian is right. We have been guarding here. That Qin Feng couldn't have escaped. Even if he didn't take this route, he wouldn't have escaped from our divine senses, Wu Yanghai added. Bei Chen nodded. At the same time, he used his divine senses to cover the entire Xixia city. However, he couldn't find Qin Feng's presence. That kid really disappeared. There's no trace of his presence within 100 miles. Bei Chen's eyes flashed with shock. It was hard to explain the situation. Dongxiansu pulled a long face. He didn't believe that a mere Buddha-like cultivator like Qin Feng could escape from the surveillance of 3 godly lords. It seemed like Yunding must have done something. Yun Feng, we don't want to have any unnecessary conflict with you. But if you don't hand over Qin Feng, don't blame us for being impolite. Dongxiansu's patience had run out. The cultivators on the Cloud Summit side were trembling in fear. They thought they were facing the Dragon Soul and the other 4 Hollow God Realm forces, but they didn't expect 3 immortal venerables to suddenly appear. These 3 people alone were enough to kill all of them. I'll say it again. Qin Feng has already left. If you want to find him, go find him yourself. Cloud Summit's attitude was firm. This time, the immeasurable sea lost his patience. Cloud Peak, you're just looking for trouble. Cloud Summit was enraged as well. Eastern Profound Su, Immeasurable Sea. Both of you are seniors of the Northern Sand Continent. You know Qin Feng's identity, yet you still want to kill him. Do you want to see the divine continent perish? These words were spoken rather obscurely, and everyone who heard them was confused. Dongxiansu laughed, ah. It was precisely because he knew that kid's identity that he was determined to find him. You old fart, you've always believed in the bullshit 1,000-year calamity and the tribulation taker, but I don't believe in that bullshit. In other words, isn't it better for me to face the calamity with my strength? I'm helping the entire divine continent. I'll ask you one last time. Where did you hide Qin Feng? Dong Xiansu roared. I'll say it again. Go find him yourself. Rumble. A loud explosion shook heaven and earth. It was as if the heaven and earth were collapsing. The cultivators were dumbfounded. This was the result of a casual palm strike from Dong Xiansu. Dong Xian, as an immortal venerable, how dare you attack these juniors? Aren't you afraid of embarrassing yourself? Barefoot Immortal was shocked. He didn't expect Dong Xiansu to really attack. I, Dong Xiansu, am only looking for Qin Feng today. The rest of you, leave now. If you don't want to leave, then treat it as you're going against me. If I kill you during the fight, then you're asking for it. Dong Xiansu's attitude was firm. Everyone couldn't understand why he was doing this. Not only him, but also the Immeasurable Immortal, Great Northern Dipper Immortal, and Barefoot Immortal. These four immortal venerables of the North Sand Continent had a falling out because of Qin Feng. Someone recalled the 1,000-year calamity that Dong Xiansu mentioned. This was the first time most of the cultivators here had heard of it. What the hell was a 1,000-year calamity? However, there were some cultivators with higher realms who had heard of it. They thought it was just a rumor, but now that the four immortal venerables mentioned it, it seemed like the 1,000-year calamity was real. However, Dongxian Sage said that Qin Feng was the tribulation taker. What did that mean? No one expected a fight to break out. Or rather, Barefoot Immortal and the rest didn't expect Dongxian Su and the other two to be present. With the appearance of these three, the forces of the Soaring Dragon Merchant Association became insignificant. Even if all of them were to join forces, they might not be able to compete with Dongxian Su and the other two. This was a fight without any suspense, but not many cultivators ran away from Barefoot Immortal's side. Those who escaped were not on good terms with Qin Feng. They were only trying to make themselves known because of Barefoot Immortal's presence. The fight started with Dongxian Su's palm strike. Barefoot Immortal took out a jet-black longsword in a fit of rage. The moment the longsword was taken out, it emitted a terrifying aura. It was unknown what material the sword was made of, but it absorbed all the light like a black hole, one of the 8 great immortal weapons of the North Sand Continent, the Spectre Sword. Someone exclaimed, obviously recognizing the longsword Barefoot Immortal was using. His eyes were glued to the sword, forgetting that he was in the middle of an unprecedented battle. It really is the Spectre Sword. I always thought this immortal sword was just a legend. I didn't expect it to be in Senior Barefoot Immortal's hands. Rumor has it that an immortal weapon's power is comparable to a virtual god powerhouse. If that's the case, Dongxian Sage and the rest might not be a match for it. Barefoot Immortal didn't have the time to care about the discussion. After the Spectre Sword appeared, he immediately took it out. The long sword seemed to be able to devour light. Its speed was so fast that it made people dizzy. It actually pulled out a black hole in the void and unknowingly flew in front of Dongxian Su. Immeasurable Si and Bei Qin were shocked. They instinctively dodged Dongxian Su to avoid being accidentally injured. This action made Dongxian Su very unhappy, but he didn't have the time to think about anything else. He immediately sent a palm strike above his head. Rumble. With a loud bang, a small umbrella rose into the air. That small umbrella instantly turned into a huge black umbrella. The black umbrella spun rapidly, and the bottom of the umbrella was also pitch black. It was like the darkness of the ghost sword, and it devoured all the energy around it. The moment the black umbrella appeared, the power of Barefoot Immortal's sword completely fell. No sound was heard. All that could be seen was a hurricane sword chi forming and being absorbed into the black umbrella. The people who were in the midst of fighting all stopped and looked at the battle in disbelief. These two were indeed the top experts of the northern sand continent who had yet to enter the worldly immortal reverence. The clash of moves between them was simply not something ordinary cultivators could compare with. Soul-locking umbrella. That's the soul-locking umbrella above Senior Dongxian Jinren's head. Someone exclaimed, recognizing the mysterious black umbrella. When the name of the umbrella was announced, the crowd was instantly filled with shock. This black umbrella was one of the 8 great immortal equipment of the northern sand continent. Before this, everyone thought that the 8 great immortal equipment of the northern sand continent were just legends because no one had ever seen them used. Who would have thought that 2 immortal equipment would appear in the world today? Don't just stand there and do nothing. Take down Cloud Summit first, then force out Qin Feng's whereabouts. After temporarily blocking Cloud Summit's attack, Dongxian Su glared at Immeasurable Sea and Bei Qin with dissatisfaction. The two pretended that nothing had happened and immediately flew over to help. 3 reclusive immortal venerables surrounded Cloud Summit. He was immediately at a disadvantage. His white robe was torn, and even his body was injured. He was bleeding profusely. He looked very pathetic. Seeing this, Yangjun and White Spirit Bird flew over to help. The Spirit Bird fought against Immeasurable Sea for a while, but Yangjun had just stepped into Nihility God Level 1 and was no match for Bei Qin. The battle started and everyone joined in. But not long after, Qin Feng's team suffered heavy casualties. When Cloud Summit slashed down with his spectral sword, his breath was almost exhausted. Dongxian Su took out his soul-locking umbrella. Under the powerful suction force, Cloud Summit could even feel the aura of death. Without any time to think, he took out a talisman and disappeared from the battlefield. Once Cloud Summit left, Qin Feng's side lost the battle. Many people tried to escape, but only a few managed to do so. This battle was known as the Northern Sand Continent's strongest battle in 100 years. It involved 9 godly lords of the Nihility God realm, hundreds of powerful forces, and a Nihility God Level 8 Spirit Bird. There were heavy casualties. 2 godly lords of the Nihility God realm died. Yangjun had fallen in battle, died at the hands of the Dragon Soul. Invincible Sect Master Wu Yufan had been killed by Yunding's spectral sword. Broken Flower City's Lord Yang Badian had died in battle. Yunding's daughter Yunchan had sacrificed herself, and Sea Medicine Sect Master Hu Fei had been killed. Cloud Summit and White Spirit Bird escaped with heavy injuries. Li Tao lost half an arm and left with the disciples of Ling Xian Kingdom. Dragon Soul was also heavily injured. Witchcraft Sect, Invincible Sect, Thunderbolt Sect, and other sects all suffered casualties. The battle seemed fierce, but it ended in an hour. Outside Xixia City, blood flowed like a river, blending with the sunset. Qin Feng was still unaware of all this. He was driving the flying cloud all to Ling Xian Kingdom. After flying for a day and a night, Qin Feng received President Darklight's flying sword message. After reading the message, Qin Feng was a little confused. The message was very short. President Darklight told him not to return to Ling Xian Kingdom and to immediately go to the Darklight Merchant Guild's base to discuss something important. As for what it was, he did not go into detail. Chapter 1836. The Black Light Merchant Guild's base was closer than the Spirit Immortal Kingdom, but it was not located in the mall. Instead, it was a secret base built by the Black Light Merchant Guild. Apart from the important members of the Black Light Merchant Guild, no one else knew about this place. Qin Feng had obtained the map of the Black Light Merchant Guild's base from the SMS. After flying for 3 days and 3 nights, he arrived at this remote mountain. As soon as the flying cloud all landed, Qin Feng felt a powerful aura surging towards him. President Darklight's clone was already floating in the air. "You actually made it here alive." This was Darklight's first sentence when he saw Qin Feng. His tone was filled with shock and doubt. Qin Fen was confused. He did not understand what dark light meant. Zhang Kuku pouted and complained, "Hey! What do you mean? How dare you curse Big Brother Qin Fen?" Zhang Kuku was fearless. She did not care if the other party was the president of the second largest merchant guild in the northern sand continent or a virtual god powerhouse. Dark Light was not angry either. There was still a lingering shock in his eyes. He was in disbelief when he recalled the unprecedented battle outside the Purple Cloud City a few days ago. "Let's talk inside." Dark Light's clone disappeared in a flash. The void returned to normal as if he had never appeared. With a disciple leading the way, the three of them arrived at a room deep inside the base. Dark Light was already waiting in the room. His expression was not as deep as before. "President Dark Light, did something happen?" Qin Fen had already noticed something fishy. There was no one else in the room and a soundproof formation was set up. Dark Light was slightly surprised. "President Qin, haven't you received the news?" "What news?" "I've been flying in the air for the past few days without stopping." Qin Fen felt uneasy. His sixth sense told him that something big must have happened. However, he could not figure it out. Theoretically, the China Merchant Guild and the Spirit Immortal Kingdom were on the right track. He did not think that something would happen to the team led by the Barefoot Enlightened Master. To him, his team was even stronger than the forces of the Soaring Dragon Merchant Guild. Dark Light sighed when he saw Qin Fen's confused face. 3 days ago, an unprecedented battle happened outside Purple Cloud City. 9 Virtual God Realm Ultimate Gods and a Level 8 Spirit Bird participated in the battle. You must know about this, right? Qin Fen's heart almost jumped out of his throat. Of course he knew about this, because those people were confronting each other outside Zixia City because of him. However, he did not expect that to be the case. He immediately realized the important information in He Yao's words. How could it be 9 virtual god ultimate gods? Before he could ask, He Yao continued, there were many casualties in that battle. The reclusive immortal Reverend Barefoot Immortal escaped with severe injuries. His daughter, Yun Chan, was unfortunately killed. City Governor Ouyang Jun, who had just entered the virtual god realm, was killed. The Invincible sect leader, Wu Yufan, was killed. The Broken Flower City Governor, Yang Badian, and Hua Fei, one by one, the names of those who died in battle came out of Dark Light's mouth. More than half of them were names that Qin Fen couldn't be more familiar with. His eyes were bloodshot and he gritted his teeth. He turned around and was about to kill his way back to Purple Cloud City. President Qin, where are you going? He Yao asked immediately. Those people died for me. I'm going to avenge them. Qin Fen said while gritting his teeth. He Yao's doppelganger blocked his way. You're too impulsive now. Calm down. The battle ended 3 days ago. You won't be able to find anyone even if you kill your way back to Purple Cloud City. With your current strength, I'm afraid you'll have to sacrifice yourself before you can eliminate a few of them. You have to think about this carefully. He Yao's words made sense. Shaoli and Zhang Kuku grabbed Qin Fen's arms and looked at him with worry. Qin Fen was burning with anger. Otherwise, he would not have lost his mind. He knew that he would die if he went out now. Those sects and forces might be waiting for him to die. However, Qin Fen was filled with grief when he thought about Ouyang Jun's death. Not long ago, the two of them had broken through together and killed Han Nangong of Xian Medical Sect. The Barefoot Immortal was also severely injured and his daughter was killed. The Broken Flower City Governor, Yang Badian, and the Sea Medicine sect leader, Hua Fei, were all good friends of Qin Fen. How did this happen? Who injured Senior Barefoot Immortal? Qin Fen finally calmed down after a while. He could not figure out the reason behind this. He Yao sighed and said, "The secluded immortal Reverend Dongxian Su, Infinite Sea, and Bei Chen appeared. They were the ones who injured Senior Cloudy Summit and defeated the forces that helped you." Qin Fen was stunned. He did not expect Dongxian Su and Infinite Sea to appear. It was also Qin Fen's first time hearing about that old man called Bei Chen. Why did they show up? He Yao was also stunned by this question. He had been thinking about this question since the unparalleled battle 3 days ago. However, he could not figure it out. "I'm not sure about this. However, I've sent someone to ask around. Those 3 secluded immortal reverends seem to have gone on a killing spree for you." "For me?" Qin Fen was shocked. He suddenly recalled something. When he was breaking through in Spirit Immortal Kingdom, he triggered a lightning tribulation and lured Dongxian Su and Infinite Sea over. Later on, Long Qianjun appeared and lied that it was his breakthrough that triggered the Void God Realm lightning tribulation. That was how he managed to fool the 2 secluded immortal reverends. Now that he thought about it, Qin Fen knew that they must have noticed something. Qin Fen had helped Ouyang Jun resist the Void God Realm lightning tribulation not long ago. It was very different from the 9 changes true lightning tribulation triggered by his breakthrough. Even if Dongxian Su and Infinite Sea were fooled, they would have found out later on. If Dong Xuanze and Wu Lianghai were the ones who had seen through the 9 transformations true lightning, then things would be much easier to explain. The 2 of them must have found out that he had triggered the Divine Supreme Continent's lightning tribulation and realized that he was the tribulation taker, which was why they came looking for him. Qin Fen blamed himself after figuring out what had happened. The reason why he sneaked in was because he thought that Cloudy Summit and the others would be fine. If he had known that this would happen, he would have followed them even if he had to fight to the death instead of leaving on his own. "President He Yao, do you know where Dongxian Su and the others are?" A chill suddenly shot out from Qin Fen's body. The boundless killing intent made He Yao nervous. "You're not a match for them yet. You'll just die if you go. The reason why I called you here is to prevent them from setting up an ambush outside Spirit Immortal Kingdom. The He Yao trading firm's intercontinental airship is about to depart. Why don't you go to the South Pingzhou continent and stay there for a while? You can come back when you're strong enough." Chapter 1837. The secluded immortal venerables of the North Sand continent had always been elusive. Even He Yao didn't know where Dongxian Su and the others were. In the end, Qin Fen calmed down and listened to He Yao's suggestion. He had to take revenge, but the time was not ripe yet. If he rushed over, not only would he fail to take revenge, he would also lose his life. He Yao's intercontinental airship would depart in 7 days. Qin Fen used this time to insist on returning to Spirit Immortal Kingdom. Firstly, this trip to the South Flat Continent was extremely dangerous, so he couldn't bring Zhang Kuku and Shaoli along. Secondly, the system had issued a mission of arrive at Spirit Immortal Kingdom safely, so Qin Fen had to complete it. Seeing that he couldn't persuade Qin Fen, He Yao finally compromised and expressed his willingness to escort Qin Fen. However, Qin Fen knew what He Yao was thinking. This was only on the surface. If they encountered Dongxian Su and the others along the way, He Yao would definitely turn and leave. Even so, Qin Fen was grateful to He Yao from the bottom of his heart. If it wasn't for the flying sword message, Qin Fen felt that he would most likely be dead by now. Since he knew that the enemy might be lying in ambush outside Spirit Immortal Kingdom, Qin Fen naturally made ample preparations. He specially spent 500,000 Hedonist points to buy a Grade 7 hidden formation disc from the system. Although the price made his heart ache, under the threat of Dongxian Su and the other 2 secluded immortal venerables, he had to make sure nothing went wrong. It was Qin Fen's first time coming into contact with a Grade 7 formation disc. It wasn't just him, it was also He Yao's first time coming into contact with such a high-grade formation disk. Even though he often went to the South Flat continent to purchase treasures, he could only find grade 6 formation disks at most. Moreover, it would be lucky if he could find one in 3 years. He Yao even guessed that there was probably no one in the entire South Flat continent who could refine a grade 7 king formation. Not only were array masters rare in the northern sand region, they were also a talent even rarer than alchemists in the other 3 continents. Usually, only those who had reached level 4 in arrays could be called array masters, level 5 spiritual array masters, level 6 array masters, level 7 array kings, level 8 array immortals. When Qin Fan looked at the grade 7 hidden formation disk, he couldn't help but sigh. He was only a grade 4 formation master. Who knew how long it would take for him to become a grade 7 formation king? After collecting his thoughts, Qin Feng immediately started to perfect the level 7 concealment formation disk. He had specifically asked He Yao about it, and with the level 7 concealment emperor formation, even immortal venerables like Dong Xuanzi wouldn't be able to discover the soaring cloud all. The Black Radiant Merchant Guild's base was not far from the Kingdom of Spirits. After 2 days and 2 nights, the soaring cloud all had already reached the wilderness outside the Kingdom of Spirits. This was originally a mortal city, the Kingdom of Zhanma. Now that Qin Feng had merged with it, it had become the massive Kingdom of Spirits. He Yao Yao was. He Yao 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 King. It feels weird. Dark Light suddenly frowned. Qin Fen's heart skipped a beat. Before he left, he hid 2 energy star stones under the spiritual immortal mountain. These energy star stones did not belong to the divine supreme mainland. If He Yao could see through their secrets, then wouldn't Dongxian Su and the others be able to? However, Qin Feng quickly calmed down. He saw that the spirit immortal kingdom was still peaceful and peaceful. There were no signs of battle. What does President He Yao mean? Qin Fan asked. He Yao frowned. He carefully scanned the spirit's immortal kingdom with the senses of his soul, but he shook his head. There's a strange presence here. It's the first time I've sensed something like this, but I can't find the source of it, so it's a little strange. Qin Fan was shocked. He Yao really did find the dragon, but why couldn't he find it? With He Yao's empty god cultivation, he should be able to scan a few hundred miles with his divine sense. The dragon was only a few hundred meters underground, so he should be able to find it easily. However, Qin Fan couldn't ask He Yao. He Yao didn't even find the dragon. He couldn't just tell He Yao the location and ask him why he couldn't find it. However, he didn't need to ask because Little Pig's voice already sounded in his mind. Master, the energy star stone is a product of a high-level realm. The divine supreme mainland's hollow god realm cultivators can't even sense it. When their divine senses pass through the range of the energy star stone, it will be absorbed by the star stone's magnetic field. It's like being swept into a black hole. Qin Fan was shocked once again. He was more and more curious about what plane of existence the star technology was from. How could it be so powerful? At the same time, he also understood why Dongxian Su and the others couldn't find the energy star stone. The soaring cloud all entered the sky above Spirit Immortal Kingdom. Qin Fan purposely slowed down, afraid that a godly Lord Void God's clone would appear out of nowhere. Shit! There's an ambush here. Before Qin Fan realized anything, He Yao frowned. The 2 girls became nervous. Zhang Kuku asked, President He Yao, what did you find? Their cultivation bases were too low. They didn't sense any danger hiding in the ground. They couldn't even find a trace of unfamiliar aura. He Yao's frown relaxed. He said with a sigh, it's a level 7 concealment formation indeed. It managed to hide from the divine sense of 3 secluded immortal venerables. Looks like I was right. Dong Xiansu and the others are guarding the city gate entrance a few thousand meters away. Their divine sense has covered the entire spirit immortal kingdom. Not even a fly can escape from them. However, they didn't notice anything strange even though the soaring cloud all has been scanned by their divine sense a few times. Qin Fen and the others were relieved. They looked at their palms subconsciously. Their palms were covered in a layer of cold sweat. Those were 3 secluded divine venerables. Because of their participation, the battle outside Zixia City a few days ago was reversed. Even Yunding had to escape after being severely injured. Qin Feng couldn't help but think that if the flying cloud all was discovered, it would be hard for him to escape death this time. Half an hour later, the soaring cloud all landed at the foot of Mount Spirit Immortal in the innermost part of Spirit Immortal Kingdom. Mount Spirit Immortal was long gone. Dong Xiansu had noticed something was wrong with Mount Spirit Immortal when Qin Fen triggered the lightning tribulation last time. Qin Fen had kept the energy star stone in advance and was very nervous. Now that he knew that the energy star stone could block the divine sense, he realized that he was too nervous that day. Although the soaring cloud all landed safely, Qin Fen dared not go out. Not only him, even He Yao did not dare to disembark. Guild leader Qin, let's just stay on the soaring cloud pike. If we go out, we'll be immediately detected by the divine sense. At that time, we'll be in big trouble. He Yao showed a rare serious expression. He was really afraid in front of 3 secluded immortal venerables. Qin Fen knew the severity of the situation. He asked Zhang Kuku and Shaoli to disembark. The 2 women did not follow Qin Fen often. Even the people who were lying in ambush outside Zixia City a few days ago did not know about their existence, let alone Dong Xiansu and the other 2. When the 2 women disembarked, Qin Fen and He Yao were still nervous. However, they were relieved when they saw that the 2 women had blended into the crowd without any trouble. Ding! Congratulations host Qin Fen for safely arriving at Spirit Immortal Kingdom. The Hedonist Sovereign System has rewarded host Qin Fen 1 million Hedonist points. Host Qin Fen's total Hedonist points, 1,929,000 Hedonist points. The system notification sounded. Qin Fen calculated that he still needed 3,700,000 Hedonist points to become a rank 9 Hedonist mortal. He still had 1,929,000 Hedonist points. He only needed 1,700,000 Hedonist points to level up. Soon, Zhang Kuku and Shaoli brought the other women over. The 2 women were smart. They did not bring all of them at once. Instead, they came to see Qin Fen one by one to avoid arousing Dong Xiansu and the other 2 suspicions. Qin Fen could not disembark from the soaring cloud all. His women did not dare to disembark from the soaring cloud all either. There was a concealment formation on the soaring cloud all. If someone disembarked from the soaring cloud all, their aura would suddenly disappear. It might be fine if it happened once or twice, but if it happened a few more times, the 3 secluded immortal venerables would definitely notice. The women stood outside while Qin Fen stood at the entrance of the soaring cloud all. They looked at each other. Although they were only a meter apart, it felt like there was an insurmountable gap between them. The news of the unparalleled battle from a few days ago had already spread throughout the northern sand continent. Even the Spirit Immortal Kingdom had received the news. However, the women had not heard any news about Qin Fen, so they were at a loss for what to do. Now that they saw that Qin Fen was safe and sound, they felt as if the world had warmed up. Ing, bei, ro. Don't cry. I'm going to the South Pingzhou continent. I promise everyone that I'll be back soon. I'm sure you've heard about the unparalleled battle not long ago. Oh, Yang Jun, Huo Fei, Yang Badian, and many others died because of me. I must avenge them. Hearing Qin Fen's farewell, the women's tears flowed uncontrollably. They nodded resolutely. Revenge was their wish. If it wasn't for Qin Fen not wanting to bring them along, they would have followed him to the South Pingzhou continent. After a while, Lu Jie and the others arrived. Li Tao's severed hand was reattached. However, it was not a human hand. It looked more like a snow wolf's foreleg. Qin Fen knew that Li Tao cultivated the little chrysanthemum treasure book, which had a godly bloodline skill. It could absorb the blood of spiritual beasts to improve one's bloodline. Even so, Qin Fen's heart bled when he saw Li Tao's wolf claw. Don't worry, brothers. Qin Fen will definitely avenge everyone. If I don't, I'm not a man. Qin Fen swore in front of everyone. Everyone nodded resolutely. In fact, even if he didn't say it, everyone understood his character. Li Tao maintained a relaxed smile. He did not want Qin Fen to blame himself too much. As for Lu Jie, Yunzhe, Xing Sanfang, and the others, they lowered their heads in silence. They did not go to Violet Cloud City a few days ago and did not experience the unparalleled battle. At this moment, they felt extremely guilty. After saying goodbye, Qin Fen gave Lu Jie the grade 6 defense formation that Daoist Barefoot gave him. When Qin Fen saw the defense formation, he couldn't help but think of Yun Feng. That old senior was righteous and righteous. He wholeheartedly thought of all the cultivators of the divine continent. However, in the unparalleled battle, he was severely injured and had to flee. He even lost his precious daughter. The anger in Qin Fen's heart burned again. Although he was reluctant, he gritted his teeth, closed the cabin door, and flew away. He didn't know how long it would be before they could meet again. There was something he didn't dare to say to everyone. If I don't come back in 3 years, I should be dead. Chapter 1838. Qin Fen had asked around for a way to get to the other continents. There were only 2 ways to get to the other 3 continents from the North Sand continent. One was to reach the True Spirit Realm and go to the South Flat continent and the West Sea continent, the other was to get a recommendation from a large chamber of commerce. Qin Fen had only considered the first method because he only knew about the Soaring Dragon Chamber of Commerce and had a feud with them. They wouldn't send him to the other continents. He had never expected that he would use the second method to get to the South Flat continent. However, he was using the Black Light Chamber of Commerce's aircraft. This was because Qin Fen was on the spaceship this time. President Dark Light personally led the team. This intercontinental spaceship could accommodate 10,000 people at the same time and carry 10,000 tons of cargo. However, its speed was not slow at all. In fact, it was even faster than Qin Fen's soaring cloud all. At this time, it was flying in the clouds like a rapidly flying mountain. Qin Fen sat in the aircraft and couldn't help but wish that he could own such an aircraft. Then, he would be able to fly between the 4 continents of the Divine Continent. However, he knew that such an aircraft was very expensive and would require some high-grade materials to build. At least, he couldn't build it with his current financial resources. President Qin will reach the South Flat continent in half a month. Dark Light walked into Qin Fen's room. President Dark Light, please tell me more about the South Flat continent. Qin Fen was going to the South Flat continent with a desire for revenge. He knew that it was more suitable for cultivation. When he got there, he planned to find an opportunity to break through. Once he reached the Empty God Realm, he would immediately return to the North Sand continent to take revenge. Dark Light seemed to read Qin Fen's mind. He sighed and said, President Qin, revenge can't be rushed. I'm even worried if you can survive in the South Flat continent. As everyone knows, the North Sand continent has the least spiritual energy among the 4 continents of the Divine Continent. It's called the Wilderness of Cultivation. Although the South Flat Continent is the second last, the spiritual energy there is more than 10 times denser than the North Sand Continent. In the North Sand Continent, 5-star sects are the highest and empty God realm powerhouses are the top. However, in the South Flat Continent, there are many 5-star sects and some 6-star and 7-star sections. Empty God realm powerhouses are not the top there. There are even more powerhouses above the empty God realm. Qin Fen had always known that the South Flat Continent was stronger than the North Sand Continent, but it was just a general concept. After listening to Dark Light's detailed introduction of the South Flat Continent, he couldn't help but worry. He was only at the 7 changes of Buddha aura. Even if he could kill cultivators at the early stage of the True Spirit Realm, in the South Flat Continent, the True Spirit Realm was only considered a mid-tier cultivation standard. At the same time, Qin Fen realized something else. He immediately asked in shock, "Isn't the true God above the virtual God?" Rumor has it that a true God realm cultivator is already one of the strongest cultivators in the entire divine continent. Could it be that the rumor is false? Dark Light shook his head and said, "The rumor is true. The true God realm is already one of the top cultivators in the entire divine continent. However, the division of realms you mentioned is passed down from 10,000 years ago. At that time, after the virtual God realm, one would have to step into the true God realm. However, as the divine continent developed, it's hard to find a true God realm powerhouse in the 4 continents in 1,000 years. After a few hundred years of changes, the ultimate gods who are also at the virtual God realm are very different. Some of them can even kill other virtual gods in seconds. Hence, everyone divided the realms between the virtual God realm and the true God realm. After the virtual God realm, it's the body condensation realm, cauldron filling realm, disaster transformation realm, true form realm, and finally the true God realm. Qin Fen's horizons were broadened. He was also planning to go to the South Flat Continent this time. Otherwise, he didn't know when he would be able to learn about the realms after the virtual God realm. If that's the case, the few immortal venerables in the North Sand Continent might be at the body condensation realm or even higher. Qin Fen suddenly asked. Dark Light smiled bitterly. You're thinking too much. They're also at the virtual God realm, but they're at the late stage or peak stage. They're naturally much stronger than us who are at the early stage of the virtual God realm. Based on the spiritual energy density in the North Sand Continent, I personally think that the peak stage of the virtual God realm is the limit. Those who can break through to the body condensation realm are cultivation geniuses that only appear once in 1,000 years. Qin Fen slowly felt that his decision to go to the South Flat Continent was the right one. Even if the unprecedented battle in the North Sand Continent did not happen, he should have gone to the South Flat Continent earlier as it would have been faster to break through. Don't worry, President Dark Light. I'll cultivate like crazy in the South Flat Continent. When I step into the North Sand Continent again, I'll repay you for your kindness, said Qin Fen. Dark Light patted his shoulder. Let's not talk about repayment. I actually have high hopes for you because you're the most talented cultivator I've ever seen. The cultivators of the South Flat Continent have always rejected cultivators from the outside, especially those from the North Sand Continent. Survival is the most important thing when you go there. Nothing else matters. Qin Fen could tell from He Yao's eyes that He Yao wasn't optimistic about his revenge plan. In other words, to He Yao, it was already a miracle that Qin Fen was still alive in the South Flat Continent. As for his cultivation breakthrough, it wasn't within his consideration anymore. Of course, Qin Fen knew that Dark Light wasn't looking down on him. This meant that the cultivation sects and factions in the South Flat Continent were powerful. However, when he thought of the Hedonist sovereign system and the creation of heaven and earth skill, Qin Fen quickly calmed down. He believed that it wouldn't be long before he became famous in the South Flat Continent. After talking about some matters in the South Flat Continent, Qin Fen began to cultivate in peace. Half a month passed in the blink of an eye. When he opened his eyes again, he felt that his dantian was slightly expanding. This was a sign that he was about to break through to the 8 changes of Buddha aura. Qin Fen was puzzled. Under normal circumstances, half a month wasn't enough for him to break through. However, he quickly understood why the surrounding spiritual energy had become so dense. "President Qin, you're out of seclusion." Dark Light's voice sounded in his ears. He continued, "We've entered the territory of the South Flat Continent. Although we're still in the outermost airspace, the spiritual energy here is 5 to 6 times denser than in the North Sand Continent." Qin Fen suddenly realized that he had arrived at the South Flat Continent. He immediately looked out of the window. The scenery outside was lush and green. He felt that going from the North Sand Continent to the South Flat Continent was like going from the north of China to the south. After a few hours, the intercontinental aircrafts began to land. There were a few huge aircrafts parked at the side of the huge open space. This is the foreign trade port of the South Flat Continent. All foreign aircrafts have to land here and return to their continent after completing the transaction, Dark Light explained. Qin Fen couldn't help but think of the customs and airports of various countries on Earth. At the same time, he realized a serious problem. According to Dark Light, they had to leave after completing the transaction. How was he going to enter the South Flat Continent? Chapter 1839. Just as Qin Fen was worrying, Dark Light took out a paper talisman and handed it to him. "This is a level 7 invisibility talisman. Use it to escape during the chaos. We'll meet again." The parting words made Qin Fen a little sad, but it also ignited his fighting spirit. It had been a tough journey. From a powerless hedonistic young master to the peak of China, to the top of the small world, and now, he was famous in the North Sand Continent. However, he had to embark on a new journey to face a completely unfamiliar and powerful continent. A black shadow flew past at an extremely fast speed. It was Qin Fen who had activated the level 7 invisibility talisman. At this moment, Qin Fen was extremely nervous. He realized that the cultivators guarding the intercontinental gateway were of terrifying realms. Most of them were at the true spirit realm, and there were even a few nihility gods. What he didn't know was that these cultivators were only average in the South Flat Continent. Fortunately, the level 7 invisibility talisman could block the spiritual consciousness of an early-stage virtual god cultivator. Qin Fen successfully flew out of the border. However, he did not dare to stop. He flew for thousands of miles before stopping to catch his breath. In front of him was a dense forest. Along the way, Qin Fen didn't see many people. He knew that this was the outskirts of the South Flat Continent, a place where no one appeared. However, what shocked him was that the spiritual energy in this abandoned land by the South Flat Continent's cultivators was many times greater than that in the North Sand Continent. Qin Fen did not have a map of the South Flat Continent. He could only walk aimlessly. He thought that it would be great if he could meet a cultivator along the way and ask for the location of the Sand City. Qin Fen had come to the South Flat Continent to do 2 things. One was to find Hua Xianyu and his other friends and relatives who had been teleported to the South Flat Continent. The other was to break through crazily and return to the North Sand Continent to take revenge. Qin Fen realized that Hua Xianyu wasn't the only one who had been teleported to the South Pingzhou Continent. There were probably many other Chinese martial artists and even family members he didn't know about in this land. However, he only knew Hua Xianyu's whereabouts. He had heard it from Al Shin, a disciple of the South Pingzhou Continent's Thousand Swords sect in the Fallen God Sea's secret realm. At that time, Qin Fen had given Al Shin a lot of medicinal pills in order to let him take care of Hua Xianyu. However, Qin Fen could see that Al Shin was a two-faced person, so he didn't have much hope for him. Now that he was in the South Flat Continent, Qin Fan tried to use the Heroes Alliance function to call Hua Xianyu. However, after waiting for a long time, Hua Xianyu didn't reply. Later, Little Pig told him that the system had just arrived in the South Flat Continent and was disrupted by the strong magnetic field here. Qin Fan immediately discovered something even more tragic. He had lost contact with Lin Bei Bei and the others in the North Sand Continent. Since there was no path under his feet, he would carve a path for himself. After flying aimlessly for 3 days and 3 nights, he finally saw people in the wilderness. He even saw 3 people. "Cultivator, please come over for a chat." When Qin Feng discovered those 3 people, they also discovered his existence. Moreover, before Qin Feng could go over, one of them had already spoken. With a flash of golden light, the flying sword landed on the ground with Qin Feng. After a simple scan, the 3 people's realms were not bad. 2 of them were in the advanced stage of Buddha light, and the middle-aged man who spoke was in the early stage of true spirit. Qin Fan had already realized that their auras weren't strong enough, so he landed. Otherwise, even if he hoped to meet a passerby, he would have left without hesitation. Just as He Yao had warned him before leaving, survival in the South Flat Continent was the most important thing. "Cultivator, where are you from? Where are you going?" The True Spirit Realm Cultivator asked. Qin Fan came here with his original identity and didn't intentionally suppress his realm. He originally wanted to say that he was from the North Sand Continent, but when he thought about how the cultivators here looked down on people from the North Sand Continent, he changed his answer. "I want to go to the Sand City. Can you guys show me the way?" Qin Fan said politely. The 3 people looked at each other and a strange light flashed in their eyes. The True Spirit Realm Cultivator laughed and said, "Haha. We are going to the Sand City too. Why don't you come with us?" Qin Fan noticed the strange look in their eyes, but he still followed them. After all, he was completely unfamiliar with this place. Moreover, even if the 3 of them had any ill intentions, Qin Fan wasn't afraid of them. Along the way, the 3 of them didn't speak much. Or rather, the other 2 didn't speak at all. It was the True Spirit Realm Cultivator who asked Qin Fan a few questions from time to time, and the content of the questions were all basic information about Qin Fan. "Brother Wang, why did you stop?" After walking for an hour, the 3 of them stopped. After talking along the way, Qin Fan found out that the True Spirit Realm Cultivator was called Wang Xiu, but he wasn't sure if the name was real or not. There was a row of houses 100 meters away, surrounded by walls. Qin Fan guessed where this place was, and the 3 people in front of him weren't going to the Sand City. They were most likely planning to bring him here. "Haha. Brat, stop pretending. You're not from the South Flat Continent." The cultivator called Wang Xiu suddenly laughed loudly. He was a completely different person from the friendly and amiable look he had before. Qin Fan's heart turned cold. He was sure that the 3 of them didn't have good intentions, but he wasn't afraid. Instead, he felt that the 3 of them were unlucky to have tricked him. "You're right. I'm indeed from the North Sand Continent. But so what?" Qin Fan's expression turned slightly cold. Wang Xiu was stunned. Not only him, but the other 2 Buddha's Light Realm cultivators also revealed surprised expressions. It turned out that the 3 of them were rogue cultivators who had gathered together due to common interests. Usually, they would put the cultivators from the North Sand Continent under house arrest. They had captured over 100 cultivators from the North Sand Continent over the past year. Every time they exposed their identities, those cultivators would tremble in fear. When they looked at Qin Fan again, he didn't seem nervous or afraid at all. "Humph. An ant from the North Sand Continent dares to step into the sacred land of the South Flat Continent. What do you think?" After coming back to his senses, Wang Xiu glared at Qin Fan and a ferocious aura shot out from his body. He thought that the aura of a true spirit realm cultivator would scare Qin Fen into kneeling on the ground and begging for mercy. Unexpectedly, Qin Fen's expression didn't change at all. Instead, his tone became colder. We're all cultivators from the divine supreme continent. What right do you have to feel superior to others? You're merely born in the South Flat continent. This is your innate advantage, but it's not something you can show off. The three of them were speechless and looked at Qin Fen as though they were looking at an idiot. Ha! You're an interesting cultivator. You're obviously a lowly cultivator, but you're still trying to find excuses to prove yourself. Alright, you think that I'm looking down on you North Sand Continent cultivators, right? Then defeat me if you have the guts. Otherwise, you'll be my slave for life. The three of them could tell that Qin Fen was only at the Buddha's light realm, and they were only looking for cultivators at or below the Buddha's light realm. If there was a true spirit realm expert, they wouldn't take the risk. A true spirit realm cultivator fighting against a Buddha's light realm cultivator made Wang Xiu very confident. He was even waiting for Qin Fen to beg for mercy. He knew that Qin Fen was just putting on a strong front. Indeed, Qin Fen didn't agree to his suggestion directly. Instead, he said, I won't fight with you alone because you're not worthy to be my opponent. If you want to fight, sure. But the three of you have to come at me together. Otherwise, I won't fight. The three of them were speechless again. When they came back to their senses, one of the late-stage Buddha's light realm cultivators had already punched out. You're indeed a frog at the bottom of a well from the North Sand Continent. I'll teach you a lesson. Since they were both late-stage Buddha's light realm cultivators, that South Flat Continent cultivator was very confident. Logically speaking, South Flat Continent cultivators were much stronger than North Sand Continent cultivators at the same cultivation realm. A loud explosion was heard. Qin Fen didn't dodge. Standing on the spot, he welcomed the attack with a ferocious special-grade Thunder Tiger flying sword fist. The three of them didn't hear the subtle sword hum hidden in the loud explosion. However, when that Buddha's light realm cultivator was about to punch out a second time, their expressions changed drastically. He felt that his body was suddenly out of control. There were also subtle shattering sounds coming from his body. The sounds became more and more intense, and a piercing pain spread throughout his body. The eyeballs of his two companions fell to the ground. They saw his skin crack open, and even his bones and internal organs started to shatter. In a short 2 seconds, there was another muffled sound. He had already exploded into pieces of flesh and blood. The air was filled with the pungent smell of blood. The remaining two were stunned on the spot, feeling as though they were dreaming. Wang Xiu was the first to wake up. His voice trembled slightly. You hid your strength. Bang! Just as he finished speaking, a golden light pierced through the air. Following that, there was a loud explosion. The late-stage Buddha's light realm cultivator beside him also exploded into pieces of flesh and blood. Hiss! Wang Xiu sucked in a breath of cold air. Although Qin Fen didn't answer his question, the answer was already very obvious. This young guy in front of him was definitely hiding his strength. Kid, consider yourself lucky. Today's matter ends here. You should leave quickly. Wang Xiu was no longer confident. In fact, he could also kill his two companions in the late-stage Buddha's light realm. However, he couldn't do it as cleanly as Qin Fen. He even suspected that the other party's true cultivation was stronger than his. Thinking of this, Wang Xiu began to wonder again. Wasn't the other party a cultivator from the northern sand region? How could such a young and powerful cultivator appear in that cultivation wasteland that was lacking in spiritual qi? Or did the other party eat a beautifying elixir? When these thoughts flashed through his mind, Wang Xiu found that Qin Fen still hadn't left. He suddenly became a little angry. He pointed at Qin Fen and scolded, Kid, don't think that I'm really afraid of you. Do you see the row of houses behind me? That is my base. There are many of my subordinates and my big brother guarding it. You are at most in the mid-stage true spirit realm. If you wait for me to call out my big brother and my subordinates, you will die a horrible death. When Qin Fan saw the row of houses, he had already scanned it with his divine sense. He did sense a powerful aura, but it was only in the late-stage true spirit realm. Qin Fan had joined forces with Ouyang Jun in the northern sand region. They had even killed a Nihility God realm cultivator. How could he be afraid of a late-stage true spirit realm cultivator? Chapter 1840. Speak, why did you trick me to come here? What's going on in that room? Qin Fan had not only sensed the aura of a late-stage spirit-detecting realm cultivator, he had also sensed the auras of hundreds of sage kings and Buddha light realm cultivators. There were even a few weak immortal Qi realm cultivators. Follow. Dream? For a moment, he was puzzled. If everyone in this room belonged to Wang Xiu's faction, then Wang Xiu wouldn't let him off. I advise you not to ask so many questions. Before I change my mind, get out of here. Wang Xiu cursed. Qin Fan's face turned cold and a strong killing intent radiated from his body. He had killed countless people in the northern sand continent. The moment his killing intent appeared, it felt like it was about to solidify. Wang Xiu subconsciously took a few steps back. He looked at Qin Fan in disbelief. He really couldn't understand how this young kid could have such a strong killing intent. You want to trick me to come here, and you want me to leave. Do you really think I'm easy to bully? Qin Fan's voice was still echoing when a golden light pierced through the void and arrived in front of Wang Xiu. Wang Xiu immediately sent out a palm strike, and a true yuan palm print knocked the flying sword away. At the same time, he turned into a black shadow and flew towards the house. Senior brother Wang Jun, someone is here to cause trouble. Wang Xiu shouted as he ran. He was already panicking. Just from that simple exchange, he realized that he wasn't Qin Fan's match. The flying sword was only temporarily knocked off course. When the palm print in the air dissipated, the golden light flashed and the flying sword appeared behind Wang Xiu. A strong aura of death quickly approached. Wang Xiu wanted to dodge, but he felt a powerful divine sense attack. His movement suddenly slowed down, and he felt that the flying sword would pierce his heart in the next second. Bang! There was a loud explosion, but it wasn't the sound of skin being cut. The movement was much louder. Wang Xiu felt the divine sense attack suddenly disappear. His body jumped 100 meters and landed below the wall. Senior brother, it's that kid who came to cause trouble. He's a cultivator from the northern sand continent. Wang Xiu had just stabilized his footing when he realized that it was his senior brother Wang Jun. At this moment, he felt a lingering fear in his heart. If not for his senior brother's timely arrival, he would have died under the sword of his opponent. A middle-aged man wearing a gray robe stood at the entrance of the wall with a cold gaze. After sizing up Qin Fan, he scolded Wang Xiu, how shameful. A mere Buddha light stage cultivator from the northern sand continent actually scared you to this extent. Wang Xiu had a stomach full of grievances. He wanted to say that the other party had hidden his strength and was definitely not at the Buddha light realm. However, when the words reached his mouth, he didn't say them out loud. At the end of the day, Qin Fan was a cultivator from the North Sand continent. No matter how strong the other party was, being chased and beaten by a cultivator from the North Sand continent was a humiliation in the South Plateau continent. Brat, are you going to kill yourself, or do you want me to do it? After reprimanding his junior brother, Wang Jun's gaze landed on Qin Fan again. From his arrogant expression, it was obvious that he didn't care about Qin Fan at all. The moment this guy appeared, Qin Fen had already checked him from head to toe. Qin Fen was sure that this guy was the owner of the strongest aura that he had sensed with his divine sense not long ago. He originally thought that the aura was at the middle true spirit realm, but it seemed that the other party had already stepped into the late true spirit realm. With Qin Fen's current cultivation, he was invincible among the early true spirit realm cultivators. Even if he encountered a middle true spirit realm cultivator, he would be able to kill him with a little more effort. However, if he encountered a late true spirit realm cultivator, it would be very difficult to kill him. This was the situation in the North Sand continent. Qin Fen knew that the cultivators from the South Plateau continent were generally stronger than the cultivators from the North Sand continent. At this moment, facing a late true spirit realm cultivator from the South Plateau continent, Qin Fen was more or less on guard. Perhaps it will be more difficult to kill you, but that's all. If you want to kill me, that's just a fool's dream. Although he was on guard, Qin Fen was definitely not afraid of Wang Jun. Moreover, this guy had displayed an arrogant attitude the moment he appeared, which made Qin Fen very unhappy. A single sentence ignited the flames of war. Wang Jun's face was as black as the bottom of a pot, and a ferocious aura surged from his body. "Senior brother, did you hear that? That ant from the North Sand continent actually dares to be so arrogant. Senior brother must teach him a lesson and let him know what kind of place he is." Wang Xiu felt that the conflict wasn't deep enough and immediately added fuel to the fire. Just as he finished speaking, Wang Jun struck out a palm in the air. A huge true essence palm print rose up and flew towards Qin Fen in the blink of an eye. Rumble. That palm strike missed and left a deep pit on the ground. A golden radiance flickered in the sky and actually flew towards Wang Jun. "As expected, you hid your strength. However, you are still an ant in front of me." A look of surprise flashed in Wang Jun's eyes. He realized that Qin Fen had already stepped into the early stage of true spirit realm. Even Wang Jun felt that it was unbelievable for such a young true spirit realm cultivator from the North Sand continent. Just as he was in a daze, thousands of silver spear lights descended from the sky. Every spear light pierced through the air and let out ear-piercing whistles. The spear shadows overlapped and condensed, as though they were real spears. True treasure spear. "Kid, you are not from the North Sand continent." Under the thousands of spear lights, Wang Jun's eyes flashed with a hint of panic. He immediately stepped on his flying sword and retreated. Just as he was in mid-air, the ground he was standing on previously gave off a series of loud noises. The wall behind him had been blasted into ruins. Not only was Wang Jun shocked, Wang Xiu was even more stunned. True treasure weapons were extremely rare. Even in the South Flat continent, they weren't commonly seen. Qin Fen, a cultivator from the North Sand continent, actually had such a weapon. Moreover, Wang Xiu and Wang Jun could tell that the Dragon Quake spear in Qin Fen's hands was a high-grade true treasure. This kid was definitely not a cultivator from the North Sand continent. Seeing that his origins were being questioned, Qin Feng laughed in his heart. He was originally a cultivator from the Northern Sand continent, it was just that he was a little special. The Dragon Tremor spear in his hands was obtained from the system after he had subdued the white spirit god bird, and the system rewarded him with a true equipment drawing scroll. In the Northern Sand continent, even a true spirit-level cultivator would find it difficult to obtain a low-grade true equipment. Cut the crap. No matter where I am from, it's enough that I can kill the two of you. Qin Fen's attack missed, so he pierced through the air once again. The Dragon Quake spear let out a dragon roar. As the spear trembled, thousands of spear lights shot out. The spear's shadows were as dense as rain and the aura was like that of a ferocious beast. In an instant, the entire wall collapsed. Qin Fen didn't expect that he would have to fight so soon after coming to the South Flat continent. Moreover, his opponent wasn't weak either. After the wall collapsed, the situation inside was clear. The courtyard was huge and had over 100 rooms. The style of the houses was similar to ancient Chinese architecture. Many people heard the commotion and ran out of their houses. When they saw that there was a commotion outside, they immediately gathered at the city gates. Chapter 1841. In the blink of an eye, more than 30 people had gathered outside, but this number was completely out of Qin Fan's expectation. He had used his divine sense to scan the rooms before, and there were at least hundreds of cultivators in those rooms. Qin Fan once again suspected that not all the cultivators in these rooms were Wang Jun and Wang Xiu's subordinates. As for who the rest of them were, Qin Fan couldn't figure it out for a while. Although the enemy's forces had increased by 20 to 30 people, Qin Fan wasn't too worried. He glanced at the crowd and found that the cultivators' realms were not high. There were only 2 early True Spirit Realm cultivators, and the rest were mostly in the Buddha Light Realm. There were even a few half-step Saint King Realm cultivators among them. As the saying goes, newborn calves are not afraid of death. The first to rush up was the group of Saint King Realm cultivators. They relied on the fact that their boss, Wang Jun, was in the late True Spirit Realm, and they didn't put Qin Fan in their eyes at all. Even though they knew that they couldn't see through Qin Fan's cultivation, they still launched an imposing attack. More than a dozen black shadows rose into the air at the same time, holding different weapons in their hands. Suddenly, a row of muffled explosions rang out. Before the weapons in their hands could fall, the shadows had already been blown up by the dense silver spear light. Jiuguan Chinese website. The momentum of the spear was still echoing in the sky, and everyone felt the ground shake. The remaining cultivators suddenly stopped and looked at Qin Fan in shock from dozens of meters away. What realm is this guy in? He actually killed 12 Saint King Realm cultivators in one move. Looking at his age, it shouldn't be because his cultivation is high. I feel that the silver spear in his hand is very unusual. No matter what realm this kid is in, he dared to cause trouble here. Today will be the day he dies. The remaining cultivators were basically Buddha Light Realm cultivators, and the 2 True Spirit Realm experts had disdain in their eyes. Even if Qin Fan killed 12 Saint King Realm cultivators in one move, in their eyes, it was nothing. But these people didn't attack again. They were waiting for boss Wang Jun's orders. When he saw 12 people die tragically under the spear, Wang Jun was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. I don't care which continent you are from, but if I, Wang Jun, don't kill you today, I am not human. Wang Jun's roar shook the heavens like a wild beast that had gone berserk. However, Qin Feng said coldly, although I know you're worse than a beast, there's no need for you to swear to prove that you're not human. Are all the cultivators in the South Plateau state like you? If so, I'll have to reconsider if I should continue staying in this place. These people were all cultivators. Usually, if they didn't like each other, they would fight each other directly. They didn't have the habit of bickering. When they heard Qin Fan's words, everyone was stunned. They thought about his words a few times in their minds before they understood. Ayaya. You ant, watch my sword. Wang Jun came back to his senses and stabbed the air with his sword. It was a gold-grade spirit sword, and it was a flying sword. When the golden sword stabbed out, it turned into a ray of golden light and disappeared into the sky. When it reappeared, it was hovering above Qin Feng's head. Rumble. A loud sound rang out. It turned out that the flying sword had missed its mark and exploded into the ground, creating a fissure. However, Wang Jun didn't care. With a wave of his hand, another 2 pink flying swords shot out. The sound of wind breaking rang out as the 2 flying swords attacked from the left and right. Qin Feng easily dodged the flying swords, but Wang Jun's move wasn't over yet. With another wave of his hand, another 3 pink flying swords rose into the sky. At this moment, there were already 6 flying swords attacking at the same time. The sound of wind breaking rang out in the sky. The golden and pink rays intertwined, forming a dense sword net. The crowd revealed smiles, excitement, and amazement. Boss is using his ultimate move, the 9 Heaven Sword Art. The last time I saw such a stunning sword skill was half a year ago. Boss was only in the middle stage of the True Spirit Realm, but he killed a late-stage True Spirit Realm expert. Now, he's using this ultimate move against a cultivator from the Light of Buddha. That kid should be hiding his strength. He's most likely in the True Spirit Realm. However, no matter how powerful he is, he can't defeat Boss's 9 Heaven Sword Art. Actually, Boss doesn't even need to make a move. I can kill that bastard by myself. Just as everyone was discussing, Wang Jun took out his last 3 flying swords. At this moment, there were 9 flying swords flying in the sky. The only golden flying sword was leading the way, while the other 8 pink flying swords seemed to have their own intelligence and followed the golden flying sword. The 9 flying swords were like 9 rays of light, slicing through half the sky. The air was filled with sharp sounds, and just the concentrated sword cries were enough to send chills down one's spine. As the 9 flying swords chased after him, there was a golden ray that flickered. Qin Feng stepped on the golden sword and dodged it. Although he hadn't been injured yet, the flying swords were getting faster and faster, and he was starting to feel a little overwhelmed. When he saw the 9 flying swords attacking, Qin Feng couldn't help but remember that he had met such an opponent in the northern sand continent. However, that opponent's cultivation wasn't high, and he could only control 6 flying swords at once. He wasn't as powerful as Wang Junpuchi. A crisp sound rang out. Qin Feng slightly furrowed his brows and subconsciously looked at his right arm. There was a cut on his arm. After the first cut appeared, the sound of his skin being cut came one after another. There were even a few times when the flying swords almost cut him in half. The battle had just begun, but Qin Feng was already at a disadvantage. Wang Jun just stood there and casually controlled the 9 flying swords, making it so that Qin Feng didn't even have a chance to fight back. The smiles on the surrounding people's faces became even wider. This brat is too trash. He dares to cause trouble here with just this kind of strength. He's simply tired of living. Strange, this kind of ant can be killed by anyone. Why would the boss personally come out? I think I heard Big Brother Wang Xiu's call for help, so the boss came out. Of course these people knew Wang Xiu's cultivation. He had stepped into the True Spirit Realm, so the brat in front of them shouldn't be Wang Xiu's match. They didn't know why Wang Xiu would ask the boss to come out. When the discussion fell into Wang Xiu's ears, his face turned red with anger. However, he was too embarrassed to stand out and scold everyone. After all, this kind of thing was too shameful, but seeing Qin Feng being beaten all over the place, Wang Xiu immediately vented his anger. An ant like you doesn't need senior brother to make a move. Let me kill you. Seeing that Qin Feng's body was riddled with scars, Wang Xiu let out an angry roar and flew towards the sky. He was quite cunning, only acting when Wang Jun was about to kill Qin Feng. In this way, he could redeem himself from the humiliation of being chased by Qin Feng. Seeing his junior brother fly into the battlefield, Wang Jun temporarily stopped his flying swords to prevent the sword qi from injuring Wang Xiu. He also realized that Qin Feng was heavily injured, and with his junior brother's True Spirit Realm cultivation, killing this kind of strong crossbow was not a problem at all. Only their thoughts were wrong from the beginning. Although Qin Feng was covered in wounds, they were only superficial wounds. The aura in his body was very fierce and he wasn't affected at all. Ha! Stinky brat, who told you to be arrogant with father? I'll tear you into 10,000 pieces. In just a few breaths of time, Wang Xiu had already arrived in front of Qin Feng. His expression was fierce and his eyes were filled with a cold smile. The blade in his hand was about to fall, but for some reason, the arm that was raising the blade suddenly stopped in the air and the blade didn't fall. I already said that you can't kill me, but I can instantly kill you. Qin Feng's voice echoed in Wang Xiu's mind. The latter's eyes were filled with shock and his mouth slightly opened as if he wanted to say something, but he found that he couldn't control his body and his throat couldn't make any sound. A wave of pain spread through his body and he saw his body slowly split apart before finally exploding in the sky like fireworks. Hong, long, long. The explosion was too sudden and it didn't stop. When they saw Wang Xiu explode, their jaws and eyeballs fell to the ground. Other than Wang Jun, everyone else's cultivation was too low. They couldn't even see how Qin Feng had attacked, but in the end, a true spirit realm 2 expert had been killed. The atmosphere suddenly froze and those mocking Qin Feng suddenly stopped. Only now did the crowd realize how strong Qin Feng was. No wonder Wang Xiu had escaped back and even needed boss Wang Jun to personally make a move. He had even used his 9 Heavens sword art as a trump card. After killing Wang Xiu with one slash, Qin Feng's heart was filled with joy. He found that on the way to the South Plain State, his cultivation had increased again. The South Plain State's spiritual qi was very dense, so fighting was much easier than in the Northern Sand State. In this group of people, other than boss Wang Jun, Wang Xiu had the highest status and cultivation. Now that their second brother had been killed, everyone felt a trace of nervousness in their hearts. You bastard, you dared to kill my junior brother. Father will use my flying sword to cut you into pieces and feed you to the dogs. After a short moment of shock, Wang Jun came back to his senses. As he roared like a wild beast, the sword hums in the air once again sounded out. The 9 flying swords no longer attacked in the same direction, but instead spread out in all directions. The chaotic attacks caused Qin Feng to once again fall into a predicament, and he couldn't escape for a while. In terms of sword skills, Qin Feng had quite a few: the shadowless sword that he had secretly learned from Broken Hang Mountain, the 1000 silk slash from Equal Heaven Sept, the Waning Moon sword technique that he had learned from Limitless. These sword skills were all very powerful, but unfortunately, he didn't even have the chance to use them. Qin Feng realized that Wang Jun's 9 Heaven sword art was also very powerful. It was a high-grade sword skill, and he was thinking of secretly learning it. This way, he would be able to obtain Hedonist points from the system. He was in a hurry to earn Hedonist points so that he could quickly become a rank 9 Hedonist mortal. Fortunately, Wang Jun didn't know what Qin Feng was thinking. Otherwise, he would have been angered to death by Qin Feng's thoughts. To him, Qin Feng was already in a perilous situation, and this guy still had the mind to secretly learn his 9 Heaven sword art. When the thought of secretly learning arose, Qin Feng wasn't in a hurry to find a way to break through. He immediately used the heart chant of creation, and the images of swords that filled the sky flashed through his mind like a movie. A new understanding was born, and these seemingly random sword lights began to form a pattern. Qin Feng realized that he was rapidly understanding the mysteries of the 9 Heaven sword art, and he was shocked by his speed of understanding. Chapter 1842. Brat, now you know how powerful I am. I advise you to surrender. Kneel on the ground where my junior brother died and kowtow. I will leave your corpse intact. Wang Jun did not know that Qin Feng was secretly learning his 9 Heaven sword art, and still put on an arrogant attitude. Qin Feng laughed in his heart, and shouted at him, with just this little ability, you have the nerve to call yourself powerful. After such a long time, you still haven't killed me. This kind of sword skill is really laughable. Look how Grandpa killed people just now, 1 sword to kill 1. Qin Feng was purposely provoking Wang Jun so that he would use more of the 9th Heaven sword technique. Actually, Qin Feng realized something. He had secretly learned Hunyuan's 7 blades, Broken Hang Mountain's Shadowless Sword, Equal Heaven Sec's 1000 Silk Slash, Endless Mo's Waning Moon Sword technique. But when he secretly learned these martial skills, his opponent only used a portion of the moves, but Qin Feng could rely on the powerful Heart Sutra of the Good Fortune chapter to perfect these martial skills on his own. Now that he had obtained the Creation chapter, his ability to comprehend and perfect became even stronger. You reckless ant, since you are so eager to die, I will fulfill your wish. His words successfully angered Wang Jun. He waved his hands and the 9 flying swords in the sky seemed to have a life of their own. They overlapped and attacked Qin Feng. There were no marks in the sky, but the flying swords had already flown past. To be more precise, the sky was filled with sword marks, but these sword marks were left behind from before. The 9 flying swords were now extremely fast, leaving no marks where they flew. When they reached a new space, the air that they had flown through before was filled with sword chi that tore through the air. What a powerful sword skill! It is similar to the Waning Moon sword technique. Qin Feng sighed. His understanding of the 9th Heaven sword technique was becoming more and more thorough. However, in order to learn this sword skill, he also paid the price in blood. Under the pursuit of the 9 flying swords, he was cut into a bloody person. His body was not only covered with skin wounds. Not long ago, 2 flying swords hit his abdomen and back. Although he used his chi to protect his body in time, his body was still seriously injured. Haha! Let's see if you can still be arrogant. Everyone, let's get revenge for Wang Xiu. Feeling Qin Feng's chi getting weaker and weaker, Wang Jun shouted. His subordinates had been waiting for this moment. Suddenly, more than 20 black shadows rushed into the sky and surrounded Qin Feng with fierce attacks. There were 2 true spirit realm cultivators in this group of people, and the rest were in the Buddha light realm. Furthermore, there was Wang Jun, who was in the late true spirit realm, standing on the ground. For a moment, Qin Feng felt a strong murderous intent. He felt that if he didn't retaliate, he would really die here. Buzz! A strange energy fluctuation suddenly appeared in the air. In Qin Feng's hand was a cool long black saber. The model of this imprisonment was a treasured saber of the Destruction Dark equipment. Qin Feng had won it from Su Qi, the genius disciple of the 7 Stars Monastery, when he participated in the genius meeting held by the Binji market. When the shackles fell, a black saber chi appeared in the void. The saber chi immediately spread in all directions. With Qin Feng as the center, it quickly formed a black hole-like halo. The air froze, and time seemed to stop at this moment. The more than 20 cultivators who were flying in the air suddenly froze in the sky, maintaining their attacking posture and fierce expressions on their faces. The 9 flying swords revealed their original forms and surrounded Qin Feng. The sharp sword light also stopped in the void. Within a radius of 500 meters, there was no sound. All life disappeared, and only Qin Feng's chi spread in the air. This was Qin Feng's second time using the shackles, but he was still shocked by the power of this superb true weapon. When he regained his senses, he immediately slashed horizontally with his saber. A black light flashed, and the air seemed to be cut in half. The more than 20 cultivators who were frozen in the void were also cut in half at the waist. Buzz! In just a short dozen seconds, there was another wave of energy fluctuation, and the sound of an explosion resounded in the sky. The attacks of the dozen cultivators fell, and everything returned to normal. How could this be? To Wang Jun, he couldn't remember what had just happened. It was as if those dozen seconds were as long as a dozen centuries. However, he was stunned by the scene in front of him. The remains of his subordinates were scattered around him, and blood flowed like a river. The scene was extremely bloody and terrifying. Rumble. However, he didn't have time to think about what had just happened. Several waist-thick lightning bolts struck down from the sky. The moment he saw these lightning bolts, Wang Jun felt an unprecedented fear and the aura of death. As a late-stage true spirit realm cultivator, he wasn't an inexperienced person. He had seen the thunder tribulation caused by a void god realm cultivator breaking through, and it was probably nothing compared to the lightning bolts falling on his head. Nothing is impossible. I've said it before. You can't kill me, but I can kill you. Qin Fang's loud voice came from the thunder. Wang Jun wanted to refute, but he didn't even have the chance to make a sound. In an instant, he was blown to pieces in the sea of lightning. The moment he was hit by the lightning bolts, his eyes were filled with fear. He was sure that the power of these lightning bolts was comparable to the thunder tribulation when a void god realm cultivator broke through. However, this kind of attack came from a Buddha light realm cultivator. He didn't know how the other party did it. Before dying, Wang Jun didn't understand many things. However, he didn't need to think about it because death meant that everything would disappear. When Qin Feng stepped into the South Flat Continent, he killed many Buddha Light Realm cultivators and 4 true Spirit Realm experts. This battle gave him confidence. Even if he came here, he wouldn't end up in a situation where he was at the mercy of others. Wang Jun is dead. Everyone, come out quickly. Wang Jun and Wang Xiao are dead. Not long after the battle ended, more than 100 people ran out of the houses. These people were mostly at the Buddha Light realm, but there were a few Sage King and Immortal Qi realm cultivators. Qin Feng jumped into the crowd, scaring everyone into retreating immediately. They sized him up with vigilance. Suddenly, a figure rushed out from the crowd and shouted in surprise, "Sect Leader Qin. Is it really you?" Because of this cultivator's action, everyone was stunned and didn't dare to move. Qin Feng looked at that cultivator for a while and felt that he looked familiar. However, he couldn't remember who he was. "You are?" Qin Feng asked. "Sect Leader Qin, I am Sky Cloud Sword's disciple He Chao. Do you still remember me?" When Sky Cloud Sword's name was announced, the rest of the people were at a loss. Obviously, they had never heard of this sect. However, Qin Feng was stunned. After searching through his memory, he remembered the middle-aged man in front of him. This person was actually from the Divine Land, and Sky Cloud Sword was also a big sect in the Divine Land. "You came here too." Qin Feng's words had a hidden meaning that only He Chao could understand. Chapter 1843. Sect Leader Qin, we can talk about my matter later. These brothers are all cultivators from the other 3 continents. More than half of them are from the Northern Sand Continent. After everyone arrived here, they were placed under house arrest by Wang Jun and the rest. They forced everyone to help them collect spirit stones and do some manual labor. He Chao said. "Then why didn't you run away?" Qin Feng asked. "It's not that I haven't thought about it. However, it is very difficult to escape. Just over a month ago, 3 Buddha Light stage cultivators from the Northern Sand region wanted to escape. In the end, they were captured by Wang Jun. He killed them on the spot and brought their corpses back to hang them on the flagpole to display his might." Qin Feng glanced at the crowd. Among them, the person with the highest realm was a late-stage Buddha Light stage cultivator. That cultivator's clothes were tattered and his face was covered with whip marks. It seemed that he had been beaten a lot. With the cultivation of these people, it was indeed impossible for them to fight against Wang Jun and the others. There was no need for Wang Jun to make a move, just Wang Xiao and the other 2 true spirit realm cultivators were enough. Qin Feng was speechless as to why Wang Jun and the others put everyone under house arrest. Unexpectedly, they wanted these cultivators to help them find spirit stones. However, when He Chao brought Qin Feng to the room where the spirit stones were stored, he was immediately shocked by the scene in front of him. The entire room was more than 1,000 square meters, and it was actually filled with spirit stones. Sect leader Qin, we've worked day and night to find these spirit stones. Wang Jun and the others are very strict with us. Every day, everyone has a task to collect spirit stones. If we don't reach the required number of spirit stones, we'll be beaten and scolded. If it's serious, we'll be killed. Every time He Chao mentioned Wang Jun's name, his eyes were filled with fear and anger. He hesitated a few times before finally asking, "Oh right, sect leader Qin, did you kill Wang Jun and the others?" Everyone in front heard the fierce fighting outside and thought that Wang Jun and his men were catching the people who escaped, but when everyone came out, they found that Wang Jun and his men were gone. Qin Feng was surprised by the number of spirit stones in the room, but after understanding the situation, he felt that it was normal. There were at least 100 people here, and every one of them was using their lives to collect spirit stones. Naturally, the results were shocking. "Everyone, don't worry. Wang Jun and the others have been killed by me. Now you are free." When Qin Feng said this, the crowd was stunned. Soon, some people came to their senses, and their empty eyes regained their luster. "Sect leader Qin, are you joking? Did you kill Wang Jun and those bastards?" Aside from He Chao, no one else recognized Qin Feng. When they heard He Chao call him sect leader Qin, they followed suit. Everyone's eyes were filled with doubt. Some cultivators couldn't see through Qin Feng's realm, but there were a few late-stage Buddha Light realm cultivators who could see that Qin Feng was at the Buddha Light 7 transformations realm. How could this kind of cultivation kill Wang Jun and his group? Qin Feng naturally knew what everyone was thinking, but he didn't explain much. He looked at the room full of spirit stones and said, "These spirit stones were collected by you. Divide them among yourselves and leave this place. Go back to where you came from." The crowd was stunned once again. Who would have thought that Qin Feng would be so easy to talk to? This was the Divine Supreme Continent, a place where only the strong were respected. Which expert would give cultivation resources to the weak when they saw them? However, only He Chao understood Qin Feng. Back in the Divine Land, Qin Feng eventually dominated the entire Divine Land. However, he did not destroy the sects that had offended him in a fit of rage. Instead, he accepted all the sects with the magnanimous attitude of an expert. "Fellow Taoists, sect leader Qin doesn't lie. Let's share the spirit stones and leave." He Chao shouted. His words were better than Qin Feng's. He had been with them for more than a year and they were friends. A few cultivators carefully went into the spirit stone room and put the spirit stones into their storage rings. Some ran away. They didn't even dare to take a spirit stone. It did not take long before half of the spirit stones in the room were taken away. Then, the cultivators stopped. One of them looked at Qin Feng and said, "Sect leader Qin, thank you for saving our lives. Please take the remaining spirit stones. Consider it our thanks to you." Actually, even if these people didn't leave him any spirit stones, Qin Feng wouldn't have said anything. However, with everyone's actions, he felt a sense of warmth in his heart. This was the first time he felt a sense of closeness since coming to the South Flat Continent. Qin Feng didn't stand on ceremony. He took more than 10 million spirit stones. He left half of it for He Chao, which was also 10 million spirit stones. After the cultivators got the spirit stones, they bid farewell to Qin Feng and left. They came from different continents. They came to the South Pingzhou to look for treasures or people. But they were put under house arrest. Many of them had been under house arrest for more than a year. Only Qin Feng and He Chao were left in the room. He Chao didn't have any misgivings. He returned to the original topic. Sect leader Qin, you were also transported to the South Pingzhou. I didn't expect you to still be alive. Qin Feng felt that He Chao's words were strange, but he couldn't figure out what was wrong. I was transported to the Divine Continent 2 years ago. I stayed in the North Sand Continent. I just arrived at the South Pingzhou a few days ago. I didn't expect to meet you here. Qin Feng briefly explained his situation. At the same time, he was puzzled. He Chao was a disciple of the Divine Continent's Heavenly Sword sect. His cultivation talent was not bad. He should have reached the late-stage Immortal Qi realm after 2 years in the South Pingzhou. Why hadn't he broken through to the mid-stage? Before Qin Feng could figure it out, He Chao suddenly exclaimed, "Huh! Sect leader Qin was in the North Sand Continent. Then how did you come to the South Pingzhou Continent? By the way, sect leader Qin, are there any of the cultivators who were transported here with you alive?" The more Qin Feng listened, the more confused he became. What did He Chao mean by the cultivators who were transported here with him? Could it be that He Chao wasn't in the same batch as him? When were you transported here? Qin Feng's expression suddenly changed. He had a terrifying guess. Sect leader Qin, I was in the second batch. I arrived at the South Pingzhou continent a year ago. Rumble. Qin Fen felt as if he had been struck by lightning. He Chao had confirmed his speculation. Following this pattern, could it be that the formation leading to the Divine Continent had been loosening every year since the realms merged 2 years ago? Did anyone get transported here this year? How many people did you teleport from that batch? Qin Feng realized the seriousness of the problem. If the array leading to the Divine Continent opened every year, then his family and friends in China would definitely come to the Divine Continent to look for him. I don't know if anyone was teleported over this year. As for the last time we teleported over, not many people came. Because sect leader Qin was the first to do so, many people didn't dare to enter the teleportation array. Now, there are rumors that sect leader Qin is dead. The first batch of people who teleported over also died. Chapter 1844. As he spoke, He Chao's expression became dejected. As for our group of cultivators, more than half of them should have died. At least 4 of my fellow disciples were killed. I'm the only one left alive. That's right, sect leader Qin, there seems to be a relative of yours among our group. Qin Fen's expression changed drastically. He was afraid that his relatives and friends would find their way to the Divine Supreme Continent. He could barely protect himself now, let alone others. Who are my relatives? Qin Fen asked immediately. I know your father, Emperor Qin, and your grandfather, Qin Shitian. There's also a little girl called Qin Duo, but I'm not sure if there are others. Qin Fen clenched his fists so hard that his nails dug into his flesh. He did not know that the 3 people He Chao mentioned were his real relatives. Even though they were not related by blood, they had raised him since he was young. Have you heard any news about them recently? Ever since I was placed under house arrest by Wang Jun and the others, I haven't received any news from anyone else. As for the matter regarding Emperor Qin and the other 2, I only heard it by accident before I was placed under house arrest. I don't know those 3 people, but I heard that they were looking for sect leader Qin. That was how I found out about their relationship with sect leader Qin. Qin Fen was startled. He Chao was a cultivator of the Divine Great Land, so of course he didn't know Emperor Qin and the others. However, another question arose in his mind. Wasn't the Divine Great Land merged with the Divine Continent 2 years ago when the planes merged? If He Chao was in the Divine Great Land, why did he only teleport here a year ago? Qin Fen shared his doubts with He Chao. The latter had a complicated expression on his face. Then, realization dawned on him. So that's how it is. No wonder so many lands in the divine Great Land suddenly disappeared, and some sects and forces seem to have vanished into thin air. It's because of the merging of the planes. So, what happened 2 years ago wasn't a teleportation formation, but a direct merging of the planes. Qin Fen knew that the divine Great Land had indeed merged with the divine Supreme Continent, but it was a teleportation formation that appeared in China's inner hidden sects. Qin Fen could not figure out why this was different. However, he realized another important thing. He thought that the divine Great Land had merged with the divine Supreme Continent, but it was not what he had imagined. Qin Fen thought of the Violet Afterglow Valley mystic realm that he had explored before. There was a part of the combined divine land there, but it was not the complete Poison Sun City. At that time, Qin Fen was a little puzzled, but now he understood. He even had a bold conjecture. In fact, the divine Great Land was a part of the divine mainland a long time ago. Not only the divine Great Land, but there were also many planes that suddenly merged 2 years ago that were all part of the divine mainland. Due to some unknown reasons, the divine mainland had split up a long time ago, and some of the planes were scattered to different regions. Now, for some unknown reason, these scattered planes had returned. These questions were too profound, and with Qin Feng's current knowledge, he couldn't understand them at all. He tossed aside the messy thoughts in his head and continued to ask He Chao, "When and where did you hear about my father and the others?" He Chao didn't pay much attention to Qin Huang and the other two at first, but now that Qin Fen asked him about it, he immediately tried his best to remember. "It should be 1 month after I was teleported here. On that day, I met a cultivator from the divine land near this sand city. We chatted, and I learned about Qin Huang and the other two from that cultivator. If I remember correctly, that cultivator said that he came from Pan Shan Market. Because Pan Shan Market is too big and there are too many powerful cultivators, he was afraid that he wouldn't be able to survive, so he came to a small town like Sand City. He met someone from China in Pan Shan Market, and because he knew that sect leader Qin came from China, he specifically asked about Emperor Qin and the others. Qin Fen wanted to rush to Pan Shan Market to find his father and the others immediately, but he quickly calmed down. Putting aside the question of whether he could survive in Pan Shan Market with his strength, even if he went there now, he didn't know if his father and the others were still there. What's that cultivator's name? Where is he now? Qin Fen wanted to find that person and ask about it in detail. He Chao shook his head and sighed. He was a disciple of the divine Great Land's mysterious ice sect. Later on, he was imprisoned by Wang Jun and the others, just like me. That cultivator was unwilling to become someone else's puppet, so he was killed when he tried to escape. Qin Fen sighed, feeling pity for that cultivator. That cultivator helped him bring news about Emperor Qin and the others, but he didn't even get to see them. However, when he thought about how he killed Wang Jun and the others, it could be said that he had avenged that cultivator. Qin Fen carefully calculated the time. The news about his father and the others came out a year ago, and the divine continent was extremely dangerous. Moreover, this was the South Pingzhou continent. Without strength, one would be reduced to the lowest level of cannon fodder. A year had passed, and he was very worried about his father and the others' safety. Are you familiar with the South Pingzhou continent? Qin Fen collected his thoughts. He knew that it was meaningless to worry, and the most important thing was to act as soon as possible. This junior has only been in the South Pingzhou continent for a month, and I was captured by Wang Jun and the others. Since then, I've been active in the Sand City area, so I'm not familiar with other places, He Chao said honestly. Qin Fen had been worried about his father and the others, so he ignored the fact that He Chao kept talking about the Sand City. Qin Fen's expression suddenly lit up, and he quickly asked, "You're saying that this area belongs to the Sand City?" "That's right, sect leader Qin. This is the Sand City. Have you heard of the Immortal Moon restaurant in the Sand City?" I know, because the items sold in that Immortal Moon restaurant are very unique. I specially went there once and found out that they were actually selling Chinese products. It's just that when I went there, someone happened to be looking for trouble with the lady boss, so I didn't ask where she came from. Qin Fen raised his brows. You said that someone was looking for trouble with Hua Xianyu. When did this happen? No matter how stupid He Chao was, he realized that the lady boss of the Immortal Moon restaurant had a close relationship with Qin Fen. Sect leader Qin, I went there 3 months ago to look for spirit stones. I happened to pass by the Immortal Moon restaurant, so I went to have a look. It seems that a disciple from a sect took a fancy to the lady boss's beauty, but she rejected him. That cultivator was so angry that he caused trouble in the Immortal Moon restaurant. As for what happened after that, I don't know. Qin Fen's body emitted waves of cold air, and He Chao felt like he had fallen into an ice cellar. He regretted not helping Hua Xianyu at that time, but it would have been useless even if he had helped. The cultivators in the Divine Continent were all abnormal, and ever since He Chao was teleported here, he had been at the bottom of the hierarchy. Knowing that Hua Xianyu was in trouble, Qin Feng's heart burned with anxiety. He was angry at Alshan of the Thousand Sword sect. Even though he knew that there was an 80% chance that Alshan wouldn't keep his promise, when it really happened, his anger burned at Alshan. He even swore in his heart that if anything happened to Hua Xianyu, he would definitely cut off Alshan's dog head. He Chao had been to the main district of the Sand City, and he was familiar with the area. The two of them immediately rushed to the center of the city. Qin Fen planned to find Hua Xianyu first. The Sand City was only a 3-star market in the South Flat Continent, and it was the lowest among the 3-star markets. It was like a third-tier city in China. The flow of people and the environment were similar to Luo City, where Qin Fen had first arrived in the North Sand Continent. However, the spiritual energy density here was more than 10 times higher than Luo City. Stop, you two. If you want to enter the Sand City, hand over your storage rings first. As soon as the two of them arrived at the gate of the Sand City, they were stopped by a group of 5 cultivators. These 5 people had been waiting outside the city. There were many cultivators coming and going, but they did not stop them one by one. Instead, they targeted cultivators who walked alone or had low cultivation bases. Qin Fen and He Chao were used to this kind of thing. This was the specialty of the Divine Supreme Continent. It was a place where only the strong were respected, and there were no laws to speak of. He Chao did not care too much about handing over his storage rings. He was a low-level cultivator, and he had been exploited by Wang Jun and the others. It could be said that he had no treasures on him. However, when he thought of the more than 10 million high-grade spirit stones that were stored in his storage ring not long ago, he could not help but feel a little heartache. Sect leader Qin, this place is not like the Divine Supreme Continent. We should hand over our storage rings. It's more important to save our lives. He Chao still did not know Qin Fen's strength. Although he knew that Qin Fen had killed Wang Jun and the others, he did not see it with his own eyes. Therefore, he always felt that he and Qin Fen were outsiders and could not fight against the local cultivators. However, while he was speaking, Qin Fen had already sized up the 5 people in front of him. Among them, there were 2 early-stage True Spirit Realm cultivators and 3 late-stage Buddha Light Realm cultivators. In Qin Fen's eyes, this kind of cultivation was trash that could be killed with a single slash. However, Qin Fen was surprised. These were just a few cultivators that he had casually met, but they were already at such a high realm. It could be seen that the overall standard of the South Flat Continent's cultivators was far higher than that of the North Sand Continent's cultivators. Keep the storage rings. He Chao was about to hand over the storage rings when Qin Fen's indifferent voice sounded in his ears. His body froze, and he still maintained the action of handing over the storage rings. He did not know what to do for a moment. Stinking brat, I think you are tired of living." Seeing that the storage rings were about to be in their hands, but Qin Fen had ruined their plans, the 5 cultivators' expressions turned cold. Among them, 3 late-stage Buddha Light Realm cultivators even started cursing. "Humph. A mere 7 changes Buddha Light Realm ant dares to behave atrociously here. Why are you wasting your breath on him? I'll count to 3. If he doesn't hand over the storage rings by then, we'll just kill him." He Chao was only at stage 3 Immortal Qi Realm now, and he could not see through Qin Fen's cultivation. When he heard that Qin Fen had already stepped into the 7 changes Buddha Light Realm, he was shocked. He knew that Qin Fen had only been in the South Flat Continent for 2 years, but he had actually cultivated from the Immortal Qi Realm to the late-stage Buddha Light Realm. Even the genius disciples of the 6-star sects in the South Flat Continent could not achieve such a terrifying cultivation speed, right? Chapter 1845. Noisy. Qin Fen spat out lightly. Then, a golden light flashed. The speed of the sword light was so fast that the 3 Buddha's light cultivators couldn't react. They suddenly felt as if something was stuck in their throats and they couldn't say anything else. He Chao was scared to death by Qin Fen's actions. He wanted to stop him, but he suddenly heard the sound of skin tearing. The sound was originally very soft, but it gradually became louder until it became the sound of blood spurting. Then, there were 3 muffled sounds. The 3 Buddha's light late-stage cultivators had exploded into pieces of flesh and blood. The commotion here attracted the attention of many cultivators. Some of the lower cultivators immediately ran away, afraid of being affected. However, there were many true spirit realm cultivators standing at the side with the attitude of watching a show. That kid is only at the Buddha's Light 7 transformation realm, but he actually killed 3 cultivators of the same realm in one move. This kind of thing is rare. What's so special about it? Those 3 Buddha's Light late-stage cultivators are just rogue cultivators. Their cultivation techniques and martial skills are the worst. Back when I was still at the Buddha's Light late stage, I could also instantly kill rogue cultivators at the Buddha's Light late stage. He stepped into the Buddha's Light late stage at such a young age. That youth might have eaten some kind of beautifying pill. Many people were discussing, but Qin Fen didn't seem to hear it. He was actually a very low-key person, but he knew that he had to be a bit strong at times. Otherwise, there would always be people who wanted to bully him. The 2 true spirit realm cultivators suddenly woke up. They looked at the 3 pools of blood under their feet and felt like they were dreaming. "Brat, you dare to kill people in front of me. I will tear you into pieces." One of the true spirit realm 2 cultivators slashed with his saber. That golden saber shined brightly under the sunlight. When the saber slashed down, it instantly formed hundreds of golden saber lights. The dazzling light made He Chao unable to open his eyes. "Sect Master Qin, be careful." Rumble. He Chao used his hand to cover his eyes and let out a scream. He immediately heard a deafening explosion and a wave of despair rose in his heart. He thought that Qin Fen had already died to the other party's saber. Originally, He Chao was pleasantly surprised to meet Sect Master Qin in the South Pingzhou state. But who would have thought that in less than half a day, they would be separated by life and death? You hid your strength. What's your cultivation?" However, he heard an unfamiliar voice with a terrified tone. He Chao opened his eyes abruptly and was stunned by the scene in front of him. The true spirit stage expert who attacked Qin Feng had long since disappeared, but there was a pool of blood on the ground where he was standing before. A golden flying sword floated above Qin Feng's head, and the flying sword suddenly shot out, drawing a golden light in the air. The cultivator who was asking the question suddenly froze, and a second later, a mist of blood exploded from his body. Rumble. The sound of the explosion had yet to completely subside, but the 5 cultivators had already lost their lives to the flying swords. The onlookers found it hard to come back to their senses. They looked at Qin Feng again with fear in their eyes. This young hero has definitely stepped into the true spirit realm. He looks to be in his 30s, but he is already a true spirit realm expert. He must be a disciple of a 5-star sect. He might have eaten a beauty elixir to maintain his youthful appearance. But no matter what, we are definitely not his match. We should leave this place as soon as possible. As the crowd gradually woke up, the area outside the Sand City suddenly became quiet. After witnessing Qin Feng's power, not many people dared to challenge his dignity. There were also some forces that had been guarding the entrance of the Sand City and robbing outsiders. At this moment, they felt a lingering fear and relief. They were afraid of Qin Feng's power, and they were relieved that Li Bo and the others had stopped Qin Feng first. Otherwise, they might have been the ones to die. Sect Master Qin, what realm are you at now? He Chao only woke up after following Qin Feng into the Sand City. However, the shock in his eyes did not disappear. He was truly shocked by Qin Feng's power. Just as those people said, I am at the 7 Changes Buddha Aura realm, He Chao opened his mouth and wanted to say something, but Qin Feng continued, but I can instantly kill early-stage true spirit realm cultivators. Even if I encounter early-stage void god realm experts, I can still escape and even kill them. He Chao's words did not leave his mouth in the end. He was speechless and did not know what to say. After entering the Sand City, there were more and more cultivators. The streets were crowded, and it was a lively scene. However, although there were many people in the city, there were few robberies like at the city gate. Qin Feng guessed that the Sand City was also guarded by a city lord. Ordinary people did not dare to easily cause trouble in the city. Under He Chao's lead, the two quickly found the Immortal Moon Shop. However, the Immortal Moon Shop had changed its owner and its signboard was changed. It was called Danxiang Workshop, and it was a place that specialized in selling elixirs. Qin Feng asked the shopkeeper about Hua Xianyue, and the information he received made him feel relieved. Just as He Chao said, 3 months ago, a genius disciple from the 4-star sect, Beijing, came to the Immortal Moon Shop. After taking a fancy to Hua Xianyue's beauty, he wanted to recruit her, but was rejected by Hua Xianyue. In a fit of anger, the disciple called by Ming wreaked havoc in the Immortal Moon Shop. Fortunately, Hua Xianyue escaped in time, and in the Sand City, the disciple did not dare to act recklessly. After that, Hua Xianyue returned to the Immortal Moon Shop once and transferred the shop to the current owner of the Danxiang Workshop. She also told the owner that she had joined the Mushanzi sect and that she planned to cultivate in seclusion there. Qin Feng followed He Chao to Mushanzi. Fortunately, Mushanzi was a sect in the North Sand City, and He Chao knew its address. On the way, He Chao gave Qin Feng a brief introduction about Mushanzi. It was a small 3-star sect in the Sand City, and it was a female sect. It was rumored that the sect leader, Mushanmo, had just stepped into the true spirit realm. In a place like the South Flat Continent, true spirit realm cultivators were not worth mentioning. However, Qin Feng was still a little surprised. This was because he had come from the North Sand region and was very clear about the power of the 3-star sects in the North Sand region. When he had just arrived in the North Sand region, Lin Bei and the others had caught the eye of the Hunyuan sect. The Hunyuan sect was a 3-star sect in the North Sand region, but the sect leader, Hunyuan Qingtian, was only a Saint King realm cultivator. Moreover, in the North Sand region, the sect leader of a new 5-star sect was only at the true spirit realm. Looking at the South Flat Continent, the sect leader of a mere 3-star sect, Mushanzi, had actually stepped into the true spirit realm. Up ahead is the sacred land of the Mushanzi sect. Fellow Taoists, please wait. The two of them had already landed at the foot of a huge purple mountain. There were a few delicate and pretty women guarding the entrance. They were dressed in purple robes and carried thin swords on their backs. He Chao immediately cupped his hands and said, "Senior sisters, sect leader Qin and I are here to look for someone." A slightly older woman walked out from the crowd and politely replied, "May I know who the two of you are looking for?" "Hua Xianyue," Qin Feng said before He Chao could speak. "You are looking for junior sister Hua Xianyue. She was just sent to the Beijing sect this morning," the woman said. Qin Feng immediately raised his brows. He had heard the shopkeeper mention the Beijing sect when he was at the Danxiang workshop. It was the genius disciple of the Beijing sect, Bai Ming, who had taken a fancy to Hua Xianyue's beauty. After failing, he had wreaked havoc in the immortal moon house. Now that Hua Xianyue had actually been sent to the Beijing sect, a ferocious aura immediately swept up from Qin Feng's body. "Fellow Daoist, what do you mean by this? How could the 7 or 8 female disciples guarding the door withstand Qin Feng's anger?" They felt a wave of oppression. There were even a few female cultivators with lower realms who sat on the ground and vomited. "Why did you send Hua Xianyue to the Beijing sect? Don't you know that the Beijing sect's Bai Ming has ulterior motives for her?" Qin Feng was very angry. With this angry roar, his cultivation of the 7 changes of Buddha aura was fully displayed. Moreover, his aura was far stronger than that of an early-stage true spirit realm cultivator. Immediately, the disciples guarding the door were forced to retreat hundreds of meters away. No one answered Qin Feng's question because those disciples' realms were too low. At this moment, they felt that their internal injuries were about to be shaken out. They didn't even have the strength to speak. However, a green figure flew to the ground. The moment the person approached Qin Feng, she also felt that powerful aura. It actually made her feel a little uncomfortable. "May I know who you are? What conflict do I, Mu Shanzi, have with you?" A woman's voice sounded. She looked to be in her 40s or 50s. Qin Feng only needed a glance to know that this person was Mu Shanzi's sect leader. This was because in the entire Mu Shanzi, only her aura was the strongest, but she had only just stepped into the true spirit realm. "You are sect leader Mu Shanmo. Why did you send Hua Xianyue to the Beijing sect?" Qin Feng's eyes were filled with anger. Mu Shanmo was stunned at first. After coming back to his senses, a hint of joy flashed in his eyes. "Is this senior a friend of the immortal moon disciple? Quickly go and save the immortal moon disciple." Although she was willing to marry into the Beijing sect, I know that she couldn't bear to see Mu Shanzi destroyed, so she compromised. There was too much information in these words, but Qin Feng roughly understood the situation. It should be that after Hua Xianyue joined Mu Shanzi, the Beijing sect's Bai Ming did not give up and finally found Mu Shanzi to threaten him. The Beijing sect was a 4-star sect, and it was difficult for a 3-star sect like Mu Shanzi to deal with. Helpless, Hua Xianyue chose to marry into the Beijing sect to avoid this fierce battle. "What a good Northern Peace sect, what a good Bai Ming, you dare to have designs on my friend. Today, I will massacre Beijing. Who will lead the way for me?" Qin Feng had been suppressing a bellyful of anger recently. Previously, it was because of the death of Ouyang Jun and the others. Now, with Hua Xianyue being forced to marry, his anger completely erupted. He Chao knew where the Beijing sect was, but he did not directly lead the way. He said with some worry, "Sect leader Qin, the Beijing sect is a 4-star sect in Sand City. Rumor has it that the sect leader Bai Xiaofeng has already stepped into the void god realm. If we go, we will be sending ourselves to death." However, Mu Shanmo said, "Senior, I can take you there." Chapter 1846. There was a sect's base hidden in a spiritual mountain in the Sand City area. There seemed to be a joyous occasion in the sect today. There was a big red double happiness sign pasted on the house. This sect was the Beijing sect. You may leave. Hua Xianyu was soaking in a wooden tub sprinkled with flower petals. Two maids stood beside her. One of them said, "Miss Xianyu, we were ordered by the sect to help you bathe and change your clothes." Hua Xianyu looked tired and her voice was emotionless. "You may leave. I can dress myself." The two maids looked at each other and reluctantly left the inner room. They stood guard at the door of the outer room and did not leave. Splash! Hua Xianyu stood up from the wooden tub. Water droplets slid down her smooth skin. She stretched out her slender legs, crossed the edge of the wooden tub, and walked to the bronze mirror on the side. The bronze mirror reflected Hua Xianyu's perfect naked body. She stared at the mirror in a daze. She couldn't help but sigh in her heart. She had such a good body, but no one could enjoy it. She was forced to agree to the marriage. She would not have anything to do with Bai Ming. She planned to end her own life after the wedding ceremony was over. Although she was reluctant, she had no other choice. Many people flashed through Hua Xianyu's mind, including her junior sister Su Ruoro, Great Elder Qing Bai, Sect Master Qing Qin. The reason she came to the Divine Supreme Continent was to look for her fellow disciples and seniors. She also heard that Great Elder Qing Ying had also come to the Divine Supreme Continent. Thinking of Qing Ying, Hua Xianyu immediately thought of Qin Feng. She had heard from Qin Feng a long time ago that Elder Qing Ying was his mother. When Qin Feng's figure appeared in her mind, it was different from the other figures that flashed through her mind. She couldn't get it out of her mind. Everything about her and Qin Feng played in her mind like a movie. They first met in Devil Beast Mountain in Acropolis City. They fought together to kill the three-eyed elephant boar. They even fed each other blood essence to survive. Then, Qin Feng went to the Thousand Shadows sect to look for Su Ruoro. Then, they went to the Divine Supreme Continent together. The relationship between the two of them was ambiguous. They were like lovers, but it was also like there was a veil between them. Hua Xianyu and Qin Feng didn't try to break through that veil. However, when Hua Xianyu wanted to remove the veil, she realized it was too late. Ever since she came to the Divine Continent, she had been worrying about survival. She had encountered countless dangers and obstacles along the way. She had come to look for Qin Feng and the others, but in the end, she did not even see a single cultivator from Huaxia or the Divine Continent. Being in the South Pingzhou, Hua Xianyu felt extremely helpless. This was a completely different world, and she was 1,000 times more lonely than those Chinese students who went overseas to study. In this most difficult situation, Hua Xianyu really wanted to see Qin Feng and ask him to take her away. However, her rationality told her that this was impossible. She even guessed that Qin Feng, her sect sisters, and the elders might have all died. Lady Immortal Moon, the auspicious hour has arrived. Just as she was lost in thought, a maid came from outside the door to remind her. Hua Xianyu put on a bright red wedding dress like a puppet and walked out of the room under the guidance of the maid. The sound of gongs and drums could be heard outside the door, and people carried a bridal sedan chair over. It was a very lively scene. At this moment, 3 figures flew over from the distance and landed. Sect leader Qin, this is the Beijing sect. Mu Shan Mo followed He Chao's way of address and now called Qin Feng sect leader Qin. He Chao looked at the magnificent city building in front of him and felt uncertain. Sect leader Qin, are we really going to kill our way in? With just the 3 of us? When they arrived at the entrance of the Beijing sect, Mu Shan Mo was also a little worried. Sect leader Qin, should I call all the experts from Mu Shanzi over? Then we can fight it out with the Beijing sect. Actually, I have deep feelings for my disciple, Immortal Moon, and have always rejected this marriage. However, my disciple is too kind. To avoid a war between the two sects, she ran to the Beijing sect when we weren't paying attention. Qin Fen had always been a good judge of people. He could tell from Mu Shanmo's eyes that what he said was the truth. Moreover, if Mu Shanmo didn't care about Hua Xianyue, he wouldn't have brought him to the Beijing sect's base. When he heard that they were going to fight a hard battle, He Chao was so scared that he trembled. It wasn't that he was timid and afraid of death, but his current cultivation was too low. Anyone could jump out and kill him instantly. Sect leader Qin, this junior has a suggestion. Our purpose here is to take Lady Immortal Moon away. There's no need to fight with the Beijing sect. Why don't we think of a secret way to sneak in and take Lady Immortal Moon away without anyone knowing? He Chao's suggestion sounded good, and Mu Shanmo also hesitated. Although Mu Shanmo wasn't afraid of fighting with the Beijing sect, once they fought, Mu Shanzi would definitely suffer. If it was really as He Chao said, wouldn't it be better if they could take Immortal Moon's disciple away without losing a single soldier? Just as Mu Shanmo wanted to persuade Qin Fen, he saw Qin Fen wave his hand and say firmly, "There's no need to think of any other way. Today, I must massacre Beijing and let them know the consequences of offending my friends." He Chao was helpless, but he didn't dare to persuade Qin Fen anymore. However, a trace of desire arose in his heart. He really wanted to become Qin Fen's friend. Qin Fen was willing to sacrifice himself for his friend and single-handedly killed his way into a 4-star sect in the South Pingzhou continent. This kind of courage was truly admirable. Mu Shanmo was infected by Qin Fen's hot-bloodedness and heroism. He pulled out the thin sword on his back and shouted, "All right. Sect leader Qin, today, I'll fight alongside you." Before she could leap up, the sky had already been cut open. A golden light flashed and disappeared, leaving behind Qin Fen's voice. "You two don't need to help me. Just wait outside." Inside the Beijing sect, gongs and drums shook the heavens, and red petals were scattered all over the ground. 8 disciples were carrying a large sedan chair on the flower petal road. At the end of the flower petal road was Bai Ming, dressed as a bridegroom. "The bride is here, the bride is here. Congratulations, senior brother Bai Ming. This is the 3rd wife you've married. I heard that the woman in the sedan chair is extremely beautiful. She's Mu Shanzi's #1 beautiful disciple. Senior brother Bai Ming was able to marry a beautiful and virtuous partner. It's really enviable." Bai Ming was surrounded by Beijing sect disciples, and they were all talking at once. When the words of praise and envy fell into Bai Ming's ears, he was so happy that he almost went to heaven. The 8 people in the sedan chair got closer and closer. They were less than 100 meters away from Bai Ming's wedding party. Everyone was getting more and more excited. However, at this moment, a golden light fell from the sky and instantly exploded on the ground like lightning. Rumble. A loud sound rang out. The flower petal road was split in half from the middle, and a huge pit as thick as a person's waist appeared at the place where it was split. It forcibly blocked the 8 people in the sedan chair and Bai Ming's party on both sides. Chapter 1847. Who are you, brat? How dare you cause trouble in Beijing sect? Today is my wedding day, and I don't want to see blood. Get out of here. Bai Ming shouted angrily, and a turbulent aura shot out of his body, showing his Buddha light advanced stage cultivation. He was just a disciple of a 4-star sect, but he could cultivate to the Buddha light advanced stage. This was enough to show that the South Plateau continent's spiritual energy was rich and suitable for cultivators to cultivate. Qin Feng glanced at him indifferently, and the endless killing intent that surged out of his body almost solidified, making it hard for the people in front of him to breathe. Sorry, I can't leave yet, because I'm here to kill you. Rumble. His words made the crowd burst into an uproar. Today was Beijing sect's genius disciple Bai Ming's wedding day, but someone actually came in the middle of it and said arrogant words about killing the groom. Was this guy tired of living, or was there something wrong with his head? But before anyone could do anything, a new uproar occurred. The bride actually walked out of the sedan by herself and even lifted her red veil. Wow! This is our sister-in-law, she's so beautiful. As expected of the #1 beautiful disciple of a female sect like Mushanzi. Not only is her appearance outstanding, but her figure is also outstanding. When can I find a female cultivator like her to be my partner? That's not right. According to the rules, shouldn't the groom take the bride off the sedan and personally lift the red veil? Why does this bride do everything herself? There were many discussions. Some were curious, while others were amazed by Hua Xianyu's beauty. However, Qin Feng and Hua Xianyu seemed to be aloof from the world, completely ignoring everyone's voices and looking at each other affectionately. They hadn't seen each other for more than 2 years, but Hua Xianyu was still so beautiful, like a delicate and refined fairy. Especially when she wore the fiery red wedding dress, it made her look even more delicate and charming, and it could even steal the souls of men. Hua Xianyu's expression was very complicated. She was pleasantly surprised, agitated, sorrowful, and anxious. All sorts of emotions fused into her beautiful face. Her starry eyes stared unblinkingly at Qin Feng. She was afraid that if she closed her eyes, the dream in front of her would be broken. When she was being carried here, she desperately hoped that someone would come to save her. She never thought that this person would really come. He stood on the golden flying sword and cut through the earth like a god descending to this world. Qin Feng. Take me away. Hua Xianyu murmured. She didn't make any sound, but Qin Feng could read her lips. All right. I'll take you out of here right now. Qin Feng also mouthed the words back. His figure flew over and he had already embraced Hua Xianyu. The barrier between the two of them seemed to be pierced through with this hug. Hua Xianyu, who had been suppressing herself for a long time, was completely released. She tightly wrapped her arms around Qin Feng's neck, wanting to melt into his warm embrace. His eyeballs and jaws dropped to the ground. Why was the bride hugging another man? When everyone looked at Bai Ming's head in unison, they realized that there was some green on his head. Ayaya! You disobedient slut, and you stinking brat, I'm going to cut you two into pieces. After Bai Ming came back to his senses, he was furious. He had been cuckolded in front of the whole sect. He felt that he would be too ashamed to stay in the sect in the future. A pink longsword lashed out, creating a pink sword ray that was 100 meters long in the sky. Qin Feng had his back to the sword ray, and he didn't even turn around from beginning to end. However, when the pink ray was about to hit the ground, the golden ray soared into the sky and instantly swallowed the pink ray into nothingness. Rumble. The commotion was much more intense than everyone had imagined, and the scene in front of them was even more unexpected. When they saw that Qin Feng had ignored Bai Ming's sword, many people had a playful smile on their faces. Some people felt that it was a pity that such a great beauty like Hua Xianyu had died just like that. It would have been good for everyone to enjoy themselves before she died. However, Qin Feng and Hua Xianyu were fine. They hugged each other tightly as if there was no one else around. However, the ground behind Qin Feng, which was hundreds of meters long, was stained with blood. The blood made the petals even more red, as if they were burning flames. Senior brother Bai Ming is dead. Finally, someone came to their senses. How is this possible? Senior brother Bai Ming is at the late stage of the Buddha light realm, but he was killed by that kid in a second. But I didn't see that guy do anything. Not good, this kid must have brought helpers to kidnap the bride. Trash hiding in the dark, show yourself quickly. You dare to come to Beijing sect to kill people? I think you have eaten a bear's heart and a leopard's heart. The crowd immediately dispersed and looked around vigilantly. Qin Feng was amused. He came here alone this time. How could there be any helpers in the dark? Qin Feng, let's go. Hua Xianyu finally came back to her senses from the joy of their reunion. When she saw that Qin Feng was surrounded, she was extremely nervous. Qin Feng pulled her behind him and said, "Don't rush to leave. I want to teach these dogs who bullied you a lesson they deserve." After looking around, the disciples of Beijing sect did not find any helpers hidden in the dark. They looked at Qin Feng again in disbelief. This guy really came here alone. Was he crazy? An ant at the late stage of the Buddha light realm dares to behave atrociously in Beijing sect. Disciples at the Buddha light realm, follow me. Kill this bastard and avenge senior brother Bai Ming. With a roar, 9 cultivators jumped out of the crowd. They were all at the late stage of the Buddha light realm. On the other hand, these cultivators were only core disciples of the North Star sect. They couldn't even be considered elders. This made Qin Feng realize that the 4-star sects of the South Flat Continent were far more powerful than the 4-star sects of the North Sand Continent. The Beijing sect practiced swordsmanship. When the 9 disciples flew into the air, they struck the swords in their hands at the same time. The sword rays crisscrossed and instantly formed a huge sword net above Qin Feng's head, leaving him no room to escape. It's over, it's over. I didn't expect to die here as soon as we met. But if I can die with you, I have no regrets. Hua Xianyu's cultivation was only a little higher than He Chao's. She had just stepped into the 4th stage immortal energy realm. Under the sword power of so many Buddha light realm experts, she suddenly felt an unprecedented crisis of death. When she looked up at the sword net falling from the sky, she knew that death was coming. She wanted to hug Qin Feng tighter, but found that there was nothing. Swoosh! A sword hum pierced through the sky. Although the sound was sharp, under the explosive attack of the sword net, not many people noticed the existence of the golden flying sword. Swoosh! 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 Then, there were a few wind-breaking sounds. Several pink sword rays appeared in the sky and were finally discovered by a few disciples. What are those rays of light? Oh no! Those are flying swords, and 9 flying swords. Humph! What's the use of just 9 flying swords? Under the joint attack of 9 senior brothers at the late stage of the Buddha light realm, the flying swords can't even break through the sword net. Rumble! Just as that disciple was mocking them, a loud sound came from the sky. The 9 flying swords shot out wildly with the momentum of a rainbow being unsheathed. In an instant, they shattered the sword net that was about to land. 9th Heaven Sword Art, die. Qin Feng carried Hua Xianyu and leaped. In an instant, he flew hundreds of meters away and avoided the collision of the air currents in the center of the explosion. As he escaped, he used his mind to control the 9 flying swords and displayed the 9th Heaven Sword Art that he had learned from Wang Jun not long ago. The flying swords were like rainbows, bringing with them 9 puffs of blood mist. The disciples on the ground were dumbfounded as they watched the 9 senior brothers at the late stage of the Buddha light realm being killed in an instant. After the 9 people were killed, 8 of the pink flying swords were taken back. Then, a golden light streaked across the sky. Qin Feng stepped on the golden flying sword and appeared in the sky above the depths of the Beijing sect. Where did this come from? How dare you behave atrociously in the Beijing sect? Junior brother Bai Qi and I will tear you to pieces. It turned out that 2 figures were flying in the distance. One of them was an old man who was shouting. But before he could finish his words, his mouth suddenly opened wide. He was so scared that he couldn't finish his words. Bang! A loud sound came from the old man's side. It turned out that junior brother Bai Chi had exploded on the spot. This junior brother Bai Chi was one of the little elders of the Beijing sect. He had already stepped into the true spirit realm level 2, but he was killed in an instant in front of the people who came. Grand Elder Bai Kuei, who rushed over, suddenly stopped in midair. His pair of sinister eyes stared at Qin Feng, wishing he could see through Qin Feng from the inside out. Soon, Bai Kuei revealed a bewildered expression. He could see that Qin Feng only had the cultivation of the 7 changes of Buddha light. How could he kill a true spirit realm level 2 expert in an instant? Did someone die just now? The disciples in the distance still hadn't recovered from their shock. Many people didn't see who died. Yes, it's Elder Bai Chi who died. He was killed by that guy's sword. There were also disciples who were lucky enough to see the divine might of that sword. The crowd was instantly in an uproar. How is this possible? Isn't that guy a late-stage Buddha light realm cultivator? How could he kill a true spirit realm elder in an instant? We were all fooled by that grandson's appearance. I'm sure he ate a beautifying elixir and deliberately suppressed his strength. Maybe his true age is even older than our grand elder Bai Kuei. Qin Feng laughed off everyone's guesses, and his gaze descended onto Bai Kuei. This old man's aura was steady and strong, and he'd obviously stepped into the advanced stage of the true spirit realm. I know you've conserved your strength, but even if you go all out, you might not be a match for me. Not to mention our North Peak sect has the Nihility God Realm sect leader by Yu Xian holding down the fort. He can annihilate you with a flick of his finger, so I advise you to surrender without a fight and kneel here to commit suicide as an apology. Bai Kuei spoke with conviction. Qin Feng looked at him as if he was looking at an idiot and said, "Is the Nihility God Realm so great? If you infuriate me, then I'll still beat you to the point you flee." When Qin Feng spoke such arrogant nonsense, Bai Kuei and the cultivators on the ground heaved a long sigh of relief in their hearts instead. They were unable to guess whether Qin Feng had help in the dark or not, and seeing this fellow maintain a fearless aura made everyone feel extremely uneasy. But he actually didn't even take a godly void god realm expert seriously. In this way, it would seem that he wasn't fearless because he had help, but he was really sick in the head. You're tuning in to the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.